I need my boyfriend. I know, pray when I see it. I've been a predator all my damn life. I'm built different than them. I'm cut from a different cloth. We ain't the same. There may be some gunfire, bloodshed, and bullets. Dog, damn, blue flavor trickle. Dog, laying on your back, spreading your leg, dog. I know, pray when I see it. Damn, dog, I've been a predator all my damn life. Ain't no clapback videos, I'm looking. I'm built different. We ain't the same. Dog, I'll touch him anytime I feel like it. I'm touching him now. I come from scum. That's why I'm a Christian. I come from backwoods, incest-driven maniacs. I'm designed and built to bully effeminate men. We come from the bottom, and he raises us up, and he cleans us off. And from that point forward, I've been walking clean. Yo! Dog. Damn. Doodle flavored trickle. Dog. Laying on your back, spreading your leg, dog. I know, pray when I see it. Dog. Damn. I've been a predator all my damn life. Punk ass sissified boy. I'm built different, dog. We ain't the same. Please, suck my ass.
Hold up, hold the hell up. I didn't want to forget those bargain bin fluffers who calls themselves detractors. No, not all of you fam. Season motherfucking 2.
I need my boyfriend. Spreading your leg, dog. I need my boyfriend. Laying on your back, dog. I need my boyfriend. Hey man, I want you to suck a dog off. Dog. I need my boyfriend. For a train being run on effeminate men. Dog. I need my boyfriend. Punk ass sissified boy. Spreading your leg. I need my boyfriend. For a train being run on effeminate men. Let me tell you something, brother. When I hold a man's penis, I tell you what I do. I hold on to it tight, brother. Because if that penis is vodka to Philip, woo, that's how it happens. Hey, man, I want you to suck a dog off.
Pimp, we get a big ups to Darcy DeFlo and add a song to the playlist. No. What is up, everyone? Hello, hello, and welcome. Only mic was on. It's been on the whole time, huh? I don't even know. Hello, hello, hello. Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. Turn up my neckphones. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. What's up, Jamie? Yo, yo. Good to see you here today. Are you ready for this? Yo, yo. You know what time it is. Yes, Jay. It's time to go. Shout out to all my niggas from Guadalajara, Acapulco. I'm cruising in my blue Corolla. I need that money to be a high roller. Trapped and made a controller. She's crying downstairs, so I have to console her. Swimsuit model with eating disorder. Spend $200 on her DoorDash order. Yo, just a fucking crook with a fucking crooked jaw. False flagging out channel with my puppy dog. I committed fraud, and I got low teeth. I'm a low teeth god. False flagging, mundane maggot. Phil's fat, Phil's a faggot, Phil's a loser, Phil's a beggar. Arnold, Phil's a nigger. Right? How do you say? Brunel's a nigger, right? Very nice. All right. Let us continue. It's 3 a.m. and I can't sleep. I got 2 big bills coming next week. One more chance to save the best streak. I'm going full mask off. It's not that deep. It's 3 a.m. and I can't sleep. I got 2 big bills coming next week. One more chance left to blow. You ready? 8 time go. 8 time flow. Flow. They thought I fell off. No. Like a prime D rose, I be dunking on these hoes. Turn you into T-part, striking a T-pose. So let me tell you now what the story is. They call me ESP. Notorious. I'm cruising and wrenching, fast and furious, with my homie Pastor Eric Miller. He's quite curious.
They don't have nearly what it takes to be a man. And since I took their manhood, that's mine now, so I ain't giving it back.
My trolls are always watching me, waiting for another disaster stream. They won't even give me a piece of peace or like a whole fucking team locking onto my stream like a detractor bee. And I can't get through a night sober. I'm losing my mind and I'm losing supporters. Detractors are bending me over. Just another knot in this Ludwig world order. And now I'm seeing so much clearer as I sit here staring into Dark Dave's mirror and all of my fears and all that I see. The raw DSP, bottom leader, cult leader. It's 3 a.m. and I still can't sleep. I guess this is all I will ever be. This is just how time flows. Until it time.
It's gonna take years of effort to try to dig myself out of this fucking hole. It really is. And it sucks. I hope that someday I'll get out of it. I don't know if I ever will. I may be living month to month, paycheck to paycheck, begging for fucking tips and shit on stream for the rest of my life.
Like, it's been tough. You know, my life has been tough over the last decade. Yeah. You know, my life has been tough over the last decade. Yeah. You know, my life has been tough over the last decade.
Lost all my subscribers. I'm not monetized anymore. Let me tell you something, brother. When I hold a man's penis, I tell you what I do. I hold on to it tight, brother. Because if that penis is vodka to Philip, woo, that's how it happens. Meerkat Mall. Who? I need my boyfriend. Please, spread your leg, dog. Suck my ass, please. Please. Dog, I'm not a good dog. A good sissified boy, effeminate man, spread your cheek, they all soft. Dog, I need my boyfriend. Please, spread your leg, dog. Suck my ass, please. Please, dog. Philip came in from his office with a moist beard, and he rang out his sweat ring stained shirt. I maneuvered myself over to him and I said, Phil, let me handle the memberships for you. Dog, I'm not a good dog. I need my boyfriend. Please, spread your leg, dog. Suck my ass, please. Please. Dog. I need my boyfriend. Please. Laying on your back, dog. Suck my ass, please. Please. Man, I want to thank everybody for the 1K. We finally made it. We did it, and it could not have happened without you guys.
Good morning, and big ups, everybody. This is Taken L's. I am Logan. Big ups, everybody in the chat. We've got Palm Primus, Well Swade, Anthony, and Epion so far. Big ups, everybody. Thanks for coming this morning. Hope you all brought your coffee. I sure did, because this one's going to be rough. I'm not going to lie. I pre-listened to this particular politics stream. Big ups, Tommyon. How are you? I pre-listened to this particular politics stream because I had a couple people, not a lot of people, but a couple people reaching out to me, and they were like, listen, it's bad. And boy, was it bad. So I've got the politics stream ready to go. We're going to go over it. Good morning, Dan Dark. I hope you're doing well today. We're going to go over it, and I do have some field trips planned based on the topics, and there will be call-in segments. So I'm going to get right into this bullshit. We're going to watch it at 1.5 speed and slow down when necessary, but big ups, everybody. Hello, Tuna Sandwich. Good morning, good morning. Let's take it right in here. Let's full screen this tab and fucking go. Here we go.
And then all of a sudden the momentum died out last week. Okay.
Phil does kind of have a
I think it is time,
cinematic universe already.
Without further ado, let us start with our first topic of this week's episode.
It's bad, Tommyon.
DSP. politics.
Like, honestly, if a lot of you guys need to, there's going to be a point where a lot of you guys may just dip, because I pre-listened to all this. Dip if you need to dip, man. I would not have made it had I gone into this cold. So let's fucking go. Dark Side Phil.
So you knew I was going to start with this one. We've got to start the show talking about the murder of the United Healthcare CEO and the now in custody shooting suspect, who he is, where he comes from,
Already
what's
too
currently
slow.
happening with this person. Okay?
We're going to
Let's do it.
1-5,
Let's
people.
jump right into this topic. So, ladies and gentlemen, hold on one second. There we go. The person in question, his name is Luigi Mangione. And we now know a ton about him, which we're going to kind of cover right now and summarize. Maybe some of you have not been following the story.
I want you guys to keep in mind, according to Phil, we now know a ton about Luigi Mangione. A ton. Let's go.
And you'd be interested to learn more about this person. I know that I would, simply because last week there was so much rampant speculation about who this person was, and there was no concrete evidence. Everyone was just guessing. Oh, I think he's this. I think he's that. It's like, yeah, but we don't need to guess. Let's just wait. You know they're going to catch the guy, right? Like, there was a freaking nationwide manhunt for him. You knew that we were going to catch him. So now today we can actually talk about it. All right, let's do it.
I don't know about that, dude. He slipped into a crowd on one of the most surveilled streets in the world, and he managed to evade capture for like almost 8 days. That's pretty wild, in my opinion. I feel like there was a non-zero chance of him never being caught.
Let's jump into some of the information. So,
yeah, it
all,
was
what's
Luigi. Mario should have done better as a brother. Mario wasn't there for him.
On right now, he's been charged by New York prosecutors, okay, with murder. He was arrested at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania on Monday. The full story, which isn't listed here, basically he was just kind of sitting there, still kind of wearing the same outfit that he had committed the murder in. So he looked almost exactly the same as the security camera footage that had been put all over the internet. If you remember, that's all we had. That's all we were going on a week ago, was the security camera footage of him pulling out what appeared to be a 3D printed silenced weapon and shooting the United Healthcare CEO in the back of the head. It was put all over the internet. Everyone saw this. So because of this, people started looking for the guy, and they saw him at a McDonald's. So it's pretty obvious this guy did not care about hiding. If he did, he wouldn't be in public eating McDonald's, right? At the very least, he'd be ordering it to be delivered to his house, right? So he didn't give a shit. So, 1 count of murder, 2
Yeah, Banana Jones points out, note that he says that Luigi didn't flee later. Well, he didn't. I don't think he was too concerned about being caught. I really don't. I feel like I don't want to make too many assumptions about the mind of a killer and like what you do after your target is down, because I don't want to say the other word. He probably got his affairs in order for a week and just kind of lived his life knowing he was going to get caught eventually. Like, you can't run when there's a nationwide manhunt. Like, you can't really run.
counts of second-degree criminal possession of a weapon, 1 count of a
That's right,
second-degree
Michael.
possession of a forged document, and a count of third-degree criminal possession of a weapon. That's what's been filed against him.
And the wildest thing about this, and Michael brings up he had a job to do and he did it, this is literally Hitman. Like, y'all know I play Hitman a lot. Lefties played Hitman a lot. This reminded me so much of Hitman. Like, this is something straight out of Hitman, dude.
So he was found with a 3D printed pistol and a black silencer, which was also 3D printed.
Not a silencer, suppressor. Very, very specific word needs to be used. It is a suppressor. Guns are not silent. Guns are never silent.
Which is pretty crazy to think that now you can just 3D print your weapons. You don't even need to buy them anymore. So you don't need to register. There's no traceability on a 3D printed weapon. That's pretty insane to think that people can be doing this now. Okay. So they said that they do have evidence proving that he's the person in that surveillance video that we all probably saw. I didn't even mean to see it. I saw it because it was posted all over Twitter. Okay. Or X, I should say. It was all over the place.
Twitter or
appearance,
X.
He arrived to court yelling, "It's completely out of touch and an insult to the intelligence of the American people. It's lived experience." What the hell is that supposed to mean? I have absolutely no idea. So what's going to happen is that they're trying to fight extradition. They're actually trying to get him to go to New York. But he's...
The word is extradition, folks. Extradition, not expedition. Do not listen to Philip. And Wells Wade says, I was watching conspiracy theory about this, and the fundraisers to get him legal aid are insane. Oh yeah, it's incredible the amount of money that people are already throwing at him for his legal defense. It is staggering. And like, okay, I'm just gonna say it flat out. Like, he killed a guy. He killed a guy. That is very unambiguous. Like, he killed a guy. Like, he did it, right? So a legal defense fund is, I'm not going to say it's moot, but he killed a guy. Like, there's no getting out of it.
Trying to fight the expedition, and so there's going to be some back and forth legal nonsense going on. In the meantime, obviously,
Michael says thirst from weird women. Well, honestly, people always be thirsting for criminals that make the national news. There are countless serial killers that had dozens, if not hundreds, of women literally throw themselves at them. So that's not a new phenomenon, you know. Jailhouse love is not a new phenomenon. But I gotta say, Luigi's handsome. He's handsome and ripped, so can't say I blame him. If I was into dudes, I might think about it.
they're gathering as much evidence as humanly possible to pin this on him, so that basically he can't try to sneak away or delay anything. Okay.
Yes, Manson. Good point, Doom Scribner.
I'm sorry if I said
Manson did get married in prison.
So he has a lawyer. You know, you always got to wonder about these defense lawyers. You know, this thing is like, okay, the OJ.
Okay, we're going to talk about defense lawyers. Pay attention very carefully to this. Yeah, right, Dan? I am a straight male in a committed relationship, and even I'd admit I maybe think about it. You know, Luigi is a tall drink, man.
Simpson defense. This guy was a well-known celebrity. This guy everyone loved.
And the thing is, he gives off massive Ezio Auditore vibes. So if you're like an Assassin's Creed, like this dude is literally like IRL Ezio, if you think about it. He's got a lot going for him. I mean, he killed a guy, but he's got a lot going for him, right? You know?
And then for him to be suspected of murder, you know, that's kind of like a high-profile deal. But the lawyer of this kid, no one knew who this kid was. Out of nowhere, he murders a CEO. You know, would you really want to be involved in this? So I don't know who this Tom Dickey guy.
No, it's not a matter of wanting to be involved in the case or not, DSP. Luigi Mangione is entitled to a legal defense. It's his right as a fucking citizen. Like, DSP is implying that he doesn't deserve legal counsel, which is really, really wild, you know? A defender will defend Luigi Mangione because it's their job. Everyone has a right to seek legal counsel when charges are brought against you. Like, what are you talking about, DSP? Maybe the lawyer doesn't have a choice but to be involved in this. But either way, it's good for publicity, right?
But he's got to have balls of steel to step up and try to defend this guy. He says he's going to plead not guilty, which is pretty insane considering they found a fake ID and a gun that ties him kind of to the murder. So that's pretty insane.
Yeah, Scrappy. It's in the Bill of Rights, literally. It is right to legal defense is an inalienable right. Absolutely.
Mangione was actually
also, like, DSP is so confused. Like, why is he pleading not guilty? It's what you do. Your initial plea is always going to be not guilty when you're caught doing something. It's just how it works. Like, you're not going to admit to a murder. No. That the worst defense against murder would be saying you did it. Like, no, because you lose everything. If you plead not guilty, you at least have a chance of getting like a reduced sentence. You know what I mean?
Subject of a missing persons report filed in San Francisco by his mother on November 18th. CNN reached out to their police department and they said that he does have ties to San Francisco, but the exact time, is unclear. Supposedly, it says the suspect may have suffered a back injury in July of 2023.
A back injury. Okay.
Some of the writing they found on him is talking about his back injury. So what they're trying to piece together here, if you can't figure it out, he murdered the CEO of a health insurance company. So what they're trying to say is if he got a back injury, did this health insurance company possibly deny his claims to try to get health care for his back? And that's what made him become so angry that he wanted to murder the CEO. That's what they're trying to piece together right now. Okay. So this is the situation as of today. Now there's a million stories about this guy. Okay. His former classmate saying he was totally brilliant in high school. He didn't seem like the kind of kid who would ever do something like this. But how many times do you kind of hear that story?
Notice how people will always say, I never suspected him of being a killer. I never suspected him of shooting people. He never would have done such a thing. How many people in your life have you known that have either done something bad or just unalived themselves? And people are like, oh, there's no way I could have known. People are deceptive and people will hide things from you. Like, no, he's never going to leave signs or admit that he's going to do something. Like that's just not something you share. We all have demons, we all have shadows, we all have a backstage persona, you know?
Oh, I never suspected that this person would have been the one who would have done this. You know, they were the valedictorian of the...
Exactly. Michael, that's an excellent point. Michael says, I have met 0 people I would consider capable of murder. Yes, exactly. However, some of them might, you know? Human beings are capable of anything under the right circumstances, in my experience. I'm not saying you shouldn't trust anybody, but in my limited experience, in my 34 years on this earth, people are capable of anything if you push them hard enough.
The high school, and they were a nice person and this and that. You know, I think if anything, what we've seen with some of these killers, these shooters, is that either people would know if they actually did pay attention. Okay, a lot of the times it's like a parent or someone is very like inattentive, allowing that person to have these thoughts or create.
He always blames the parents. Have you guys noticed that? Like with the Kia boys stealing cars, he blamed the parents. With this, he's implying that Luigi's parents could have done more. It's really, really strange how he blames the parents for not being there almost 100% of the time. And we'll get to that later. In one of the later stories, he also wants to blame the parents for something else that happens that we're going to get into later.
Easy things go on. Or sometimes these people, you just don't know them. You think you know someone and you just don't know them well enough. And then something sets them off.
Yeah, Epion, we'll get to that. The way DSP talks about parents and like the duty as parent to protect their child is massive projection. But I don't want to spoil a future segment because I pre-listened to all of this. But we'll get into that later.
The next thing you know, boom. Okay, you know, they're doing something crazy or completely unbelievable, right? Now, they did do the non-guilty plea, FYI, and continuing on with everything that's been going on with this guy, they found a book, pages of notes, all right? And they're kind of calling it...
Yep. Devilish Face says, honestly, every friend or relative that I've lost to Sewer Slide has presented as a super happy and like there's absolutely nothing wrong. That's why I always say, I've said this for a long time. I've said this probably since I was in college because part of what I did in college was like grief and crisis counseling. And I would tell people, always like check on your happy friends. Like check on the people that are happy all the time, and don't just say, how are you? I'm good. Like ask them, like, what is going on with you? Like, how are you? Tell me about your life. Check in with those people, because in my experience, it's the people that present as the happiest and most together that on the inside and in the shadows need the most help. And maybe Luigi was one of those guys. I don't know. I can never profess to know what he was thinking, but he obviously was having some very dark thoughts and his ideas took him to some very dark places. So maybe if people checked in with him every once in a while, he may not have needed to do this. Just saying.
Mangione manifesto, and they're combing through it.
Yep, the happiest really people tend to be the saddest.
Any information out. I mean, it's an ongoing investigation. They're not going to just spill the beans and tell you everything about this guy and his motive. This is something that they need to prove in a court of law to try to get a conviction. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to be like, oh, here's everything that we found on this guy. But it says that they found a bunch of pages of notes in a spiral notebook. It includes to-do lists of tasks that needed to be completed to facilitate a killing, as well as notes justifying those plans. So, I mean, they found the weapon. That looks exactly like the weapon in the video. They found a notebook stating the fact that he was planning on doing it, and this is how he would do it, and how to justify it. I mean, this is going to be a pretty hard defense, I feel. I mean, they're really going to have to fuck up this investigation horribly in order to get this one thrown out, but it's happened.
Dendark, absolutely right. Dendark says the mind is a crazy thing. The mind is a crazy thing. Think that's why we look at lolcows. Yeah, exactly. The human mind is fascinating, and a single person can be a study in contradictions. That is DSP. I think that's DSP absolutely to the letter, but I also think that that's most lolcows we would follow, right? Like lolcows are a study in contradictions. Because DSP will tell himself every single day, I'm a success, I'm a success, I'm a success, but then, you know, on stream, he'll say, I need your help so we can hit these goals and felt the trolls. I need your help. That's a contradiction.
Lie. This has actually happened, where they have a slap bang case and they accidentally do something stupid that's against the, you know, the way that you're supposed to actually proceed with the investigation. And then they end up making the person get off from the charges because they did the investigation wrong.
Making the person get off. I should clip that later, because the way he said they end up making the person get off may be a funny clip. I'll clip that later.
So here we go. In one notebook passage, Mangione wrote about the Unabomber. Remember that guy? who CEN had previously reported Mangione wrote about in posts online as well. In his passage in the notebook, Mangione concludes that using a bomb against his intended victim would kill innocents, but shooting him would be
That's
more
right,
targeted.
well, Swade. It's not begging,
Killed
it's
the
just
CEO at his
business.
own bean counting conference.
Big ups.
Ooh. I mean, this is not looking too good for Mr. Mangione, is it? So he had expressed a diverse range of political viewpoints in a months-long correspondence with an on...
Oh, dude, honestly, Epion, so I didn't study psychology. I almost did. I applied for college as a psychology major, and then I went to the psychology orientation, which was a month before school was supposed to start. Then I changed my major to communications, radio, TV, and film. But if I had to do my senior capping course again, I would do it on DSP. I would do it on DSP because he's a perfect study on how to fail upwards in media, do everything wrong, but still somehow be able to survive. Like, he's a case study in what not to do. He's such a contradiction.
Line blogger. So Mangione was a subscriber to Gurwinder Bogle's Substack, The Prism. The two corresponded this past spring. They had a 2-hour video chat in May. Mangione said he was in Japan and exchanged 20 emails and direct messages on X and Substack.
Absolutely.
He says Mangione told him to subscribe to his blog. Here we go. It seemed to resonate with Luigi. He was also left-wing on some things and right-wing on others. Bogle told CN in an email. For instance, he was pro-equality of opportunity, but anti-woke, anti-DEI, and anti-identity politics. He opposed woke...
Yeah, actually, so am I. Does that make me dangerous? I like equity and equality, but I think a lot of the woke virtue signaling in media is a huge overcorrection. So that's kind of what I think. Like, what's that supposed to mean, Philip?
Because he didn't believe it was an effective way to help minorities. So
no, it's not like woke quote unquote behavior is not an effective way to help minorities. It gets in the way of having the actual conversation. And some of what I'll get into later in the stream is that identity politics is a distraction from what is actually going on. Because when we get to the Jordan Neely, Daniel Penny story, which we will, my whole take on that is that the identity politics that people are attaching to that story are a distraction from what is actually going on, from what actually took place. But I don't want to give myself up. We'll get into that in a bit.
What's hilarious is that a lot of people in the chat are saying, I don't know, Phil. I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of similarities between this Luigi guy and you. You know, he was valedictorian and you were valedictorian. He was kind of, in the middle on certain issues. You're on the middle on a lot of issues. Like,
And of course, he makes it about himself.
All right, listen.
Good job, Phil.
By the way, he has a back injury, which I had. I don't really have it anymore. I did have a serious
that
back injury.
Requires a sip.
That's true. Yes, I'm a quarter Italian. He's mostly Italian. I'm a quarter Italian. All right. So, and he's massive. If you don't know, if you haven't seen the pictures,
I'm sorry, Ice Age.
He's completely
we have to do it.
Okay? And as you all know, I've lost a tremendous amount of weight, and I actually do have a glistening marble body underneath these nice clothes. I just don't show it off because I don't like to, I don't like to brag or anything. I don't want to make other men feel uncomfortable in their own skin. So I keep these clothes on, you understand? But, this guy, he likes posting these pictures.
If DSP takes his shirt off, I'll never feel like a real man. That's good to know.
There's similarities here.
That's
I agree.
good to know.
In another lifetime, you never know. In another lifetime, maybe I would have got screwed over by a healthcare CEO and lost
yes,
my mind.
Doom
like this crazy guy
Scrivener. The
did,
middle
right?
of the road is the worst place to drive because both lanes of traffic can hit you.
The only remembers Mangione discussing a back injury he sustained. Their last correspondence had been in June. He was so thoughtful and polite. So there you go. He seemed like the last person I was murdering someone. So again,
to derail myself slightly, Doom Scrivener, this is kind of why I find doing these review streams fascinating, because DSP fence sits so hard that everybody hates him. Everybody like, whether you're conservative, leftist, ultra liberal, wherever you land on the spectrum, you will hate these takes. And the idea, the notion that these are bad takes no matter where you sit shows a lot about DSP and how much of an idiot he is. He can't even fake extreme takes correctly.
They just don't seem to give any indication that they would do them, which is crazy. Again, how no one had any idea this guy was unhinged and could do something like this. So the companies are trying to stop online support because basically,
yeah, I don't know. I go back and forth on those two who's popping, to be honest.
It says deny, defend, and depose were printed on the shell casings of the bullets that he put into this CEO. Okay, and a lot of people are saying that sounds like.
All right, I can speak to deny, defend, depose because full disclosure, I work for an insurance company, not a health insurance carrier, but I work for an insurance company. I am a claims style individual, and not where I work, but I've heard people in the industry say deny, defend, depose in the context of deny the claim, defend your position, and then take them to court, which would be a deposition if they appeal it, meaning pay as little as possible. Like, that's a saying that people in healthcare use. I've heard it. Not in my work directly, but I've heard it from people in the industry. And it is a real problem, because the thing with health insurance companies, and United Healthcare specifically, is that every time you file a health insurance claim, or I should say a medical office files a health insurance claim on your behalf with your health insurance carrier, they have every incentive not to approve it, because if they don't approve it, they make more money on your premiums and they pay less money out. It's simple math. And honestly, I am a United Healthcare customer, and they deny the stupidest shit. They deny necessary body scans. They deny life-saving medicine. So, like, that's where my personal bias is. I haven't been screwed over by United Healthcare nearly as bad as some people have. But United Healthcare, like, their gimmick is that they deny a lot of shit. Like, that is literally their gimmick. They have AI procedures and protocols that deny almost everything. And it's staggering, the amount of stuff they deny.
The name of a 2010 book that's critiquing the health insurance industry called Delay, Deny, and Defend. Now, if that's the case, I'm sorry, he's a valedictorian. I gotta grade him. Deny and defend. Okay, but depose.
What's up, movie sign? Oh, also, yeah, Doom Scrivener. You raise a good point. Doom Scrivener says they deny all my shit. They end up covering it later. Every time you get anything denied, and this is coming from someone who works for an insurance company, and I have to issue denial decisions. Well, not so much in this job. My current job doesn't really factor into like deny, approve, appeal, or whatever. But I used to work in disability insurance, and I would deny disability claims all the time. And I will tell you, if you get denied any type of insurance claim, file an appeal. Every single denial, every single insurance denial, whether it's health, auto, homeowners, if you file with an insurance company, you get your shit denied, file an appeal. Do it, because a lot of times there may be new information over the process of the appeal, or honestly, the person reviewing the claim may not have been looking hard enough. And I have been that person. I have been that claim reviewer that didn't look hard enough, that didn't find the reason to approve. So absolutely, every time you get your shit denied, submit an appeal, because you should have a second person look at it. That's your right.
It was delay. Luigi, the third word was delay. You fucked up. So I'm sorry. You had
my company used to use Blue Cross Blue Shield, and there was never a question. There was never a question for anything.
You couldn't get the three words right. Anyway, so basically, listen to this. The suspect in this case has garnered sympathy and online fandom, partly because of people's problems with the health insurance industry. The majority of insured U.S. adults had at least one issue, including denial of claims with their insurance in the span of a year, according to a survey released in June of 2023. So people started putting merchandise up. Okay, merchandise up, and they were selling it on there, and they pulled it down because they're like, this is associated with a freaking murder and a murder investigation. No, you can't sell this merchandise.
Yeah, I agree with merch getting pulled down. I agree with that. That is really fucked up. Like, listen, I'm not gonna side with a healthcare CEO, and I can't. This is gonna be very cold and callous of me. I find it hard to feel bad. I find it hard to feel bad that a billionaire CEO of a healthcare company that denies a lot of shit is no longer with us. I don't feel bad about that. But I'm not gonna openly root for the dude that shot him. I'm not gonna do that. I think people that know and loved Brian Thompson should have an opportunity to grieve, and I think that Luigi should answer for his crimes. But is it really so outlandish to think that people identify with Luigi more than they identify with Brian? I'm not surprised at all, because everybody's affected by health insurance. Everybody.
On our site, okay? But there's still merch on eBay and other places. They're saying, that phrase actually doesn't violate our rules.
Yes. So, Doom Scrivener. I'll get into that in one of the stories in a little while. Because someone actually reached out to me before this stream and said, hey, his sources are shit. Can you look at these? So yeah, we're going to take a field trip in a bit about his sources. We'll get there.
Let him sell that? Jeez. Continuing on, there's just a ton of information that's come out. That book, Delay, Deny, Defend, has soared in sales on Amazon now. Now everyone wants to read this book for some reason. All of a sudden, everyone is so, interested in health insurance, I guess. So, Why would Luigi Mangione be fighting extradition?
He does not.
to New
He
York?
doesn't know about
Well,
Associated
the
Press.
reason
He
is there
doesn't
could be
know
several
about all
reasons.
sides
To allow him
review.
more time to think about his defense.
There are very
demand
basic
prosecutors
tools you
present
can
more
use to
evidence
make sure
at the
your
next
shit
hearing, or
is
maybe try to get
solid.
bail in Pennsylvania, which is unlikely. I mean, he's not going to get bail. There's no judge in their right mind who's going to grant this guy bail with all this evidence they already have. Okay.
Why wouldn't they grant him bail though? Like, why wouldn't, like, see, this is the thing. DSP makes claims about things he knows nothing about. There is a potential for bail. And you know what? There's a high likelihood that he could afford it if people are already collecting money for him. You think if he was set at $1 million bond, people wouldn't raise $500,000 to get him out? They absolutely would.
So most criminal defendants praising prosecution on more serious charges in another state waive their right to extradition.
Correct. Who's poppin'? So who's poppin' says Phil is a symptom of someone who gets their news from social media platforms. Exactly. He reads headlines, and even the things he reads, like he's reading the article now, but as I've said in the previous politics streams, there's a difference between reading and understanding. He can read the words, and he understands at a base level what the words mean and how to read them. But he doesn't know what the actual context or themes of the article are. It's frustrating.
Going to be let out, so he's fighting that extradition. 8 or 9 out of 10 times, defendants waive extradition because they realize it's so perfunctory, it's so easy, and most of them don't want to languish in detention. In the other states,
you guys are smart. You guys are smart. I gotta give.
You
guys are fucking smart. Keep being you.
So here's the thing. Before we get to my opinion, because I do have a lot to say on this. Okay. There's one other thing that I want to cover. I mean, we just covered a lot of the case and things. Oh, by the way, we should bring up, basically, now people are starting to threaten the police officers who arrested him and are now investigating the case, which is pretty insane. Like, why are you threatening the police officers who are just trying to investigate a crime? Don't you want them to actually figure out what's going on?
Why are they threatening the police officers? Because people on the internet are unhinged retards sometimes. That's why. And I can't believe that Phil doesn't understand, because Phil is an unhinged retard on the internet, let's be clear. But it's really weird when Phil's like, well, why would they harass the police officers? Because people are unhinged retards. Like, listen, I am no friend of the police, all right? But even I will admit that police officers and detectives have jobs to do. I would not want to be the detectives on this case. Oh boy. This is like the case of a lifetime. Holy shit.
And that, if he's really a killer or not. And don't you want to find out who the hell would spend $52.80 on a can of tuna? Because that sounds pretty expensive to me. I don't know about you guys. Oh, there you go. Now it's 20% off at least. So we've got instant sale. Understanding my office staff are looking at this and we probably won't accept the offers. Obviously, my client appreciates the support, but it doesn't sit right with me.
Support. Okay.
He's been referred to as a hero on social media. A hero. Okay. Oh, by the way, my backdrop desynced. I'm glad that I'm glad that we're in the middle of the story now. You can't see that. I'm gonna have to fix it after the fact. Nice desyncing. He's a hero for murdering the CEO of a healthcare. I
mean, whether you think it's right or wrong, anyone could be a hero to someone. Imagine that this chowderhead DSP is a hero to some people, right? Like, we've heard that. We've heard some people be like, oh, DSP, you're a hero, you're an inspiration. So I think it is highly likely that this dude who actually did something is a hero to some. I don't understand why he is struggling to grasp that notion.
Insurance company, they think that this man is a hero. Okay?
Yes, who's popping? Yeah, the targeted ads really give insight into the searches going on in the Burnell household.
Oh, by the way, the lawyer says, I haven't actually seen any evidence that they have the right guy. That's what his lawyer said. Now, I mean, good on the lawyer for sticking up for his client, but, I mean, he's
the wind beneath Darziak's wings. You know what? That's getting pinned.
And there's possible evidence
that
he actually had a back
good.
Injury. Like, everything is starting to stack up, don't you think? You've seen no evidence? At least you could argue there's circumstantial stuff that possibly would lead you to believe that he was the actual killer. I don't know how the lawyer could possibly say, I see no evidence whatsoever. That seems pretty ridiculous. Former classmate stunned that the CEO suspected killer is the person they knew in school. They were fraternity brothers, and they said, oh, we never would have thought. Again, I think a lot of these people...
We were brothers.
Here, okay, is that they're not going to give you the impression that they're going to do something like this. And we're seeing this more and more, that people have this kind of like...
Oh, Gribner, they put out as- my dude, we will get there. What... I pre-listened to this yesterday. My girlfriend was at the salon for like a long appointment. Yeah, very long appointment at the salon yesterday. So I had some time. So I pre-listened to the Daniel Penny segment. Oh my God. My jaw dropped when we were in the place, in public, In public, I was talking out loud to myself about that story. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Facade, but then behind the facade, there's this whole other person or existence, right? A whole other personality, perhaps. That's the real person behind all of that. By the way, here's a picture of the gun, or a similar gun, I believe. And what's wild to me about this is completely 3D printed. I think not the...
Correct. Well, and two, so Gribner raises a good point. Wait, he's defending circumstantial evidence now. Yes. And I think that what was so... I'm gonna use... I was godsmacked. That's right. Godsmacked. Listening to this VOD yesterday at the hair salon. That... The whole theme of this entire stream was actually the idea that DSP does not want due process for anybody. Like, he doesn't want due process for anyone. All three of these stories, whether it's Luigi Mangione, whether it's the conflict in Syria, or whether it's the Jordan Neely, Daniel Penny story, he does not want due process for anybody. It's incredible. It's incredible. Yes, Fort Worth raised except himself. And yes, I spoiled myself later, but I was gonna bring it around to that. But DSP literally wants due process for nobody but himself. His whole thing is, oh, you caught the criminal, you caught him. He doesn't deserve court. Someone is no longer alive because of a chokehold on the subway. They probably deserved it. And send all the trolls to jail. Send us to jail.
How are we going to regulate that? Because right now, to prevent people from getting a gun who shouldn't have one, you have to, if you, for example, mental illness, right? You have to tell them when you're trying to get a gun, well, yes, I have a history of mental illness. I have a history of drug abuse. I have a history of this. I mean, we were just talking about Hunter Biden, right? And how Hunter Biden last week, that was one of the crimes that he went to jail for, or was going to go to jail for, was that he lied on his form to get a gun, saying that he wasn't a drug addict, but he had to say that. So here you go, a ghost gun. And they're nearly undetectable to law enforcement. I mean, why would they be? Aren't you printing
rules
it?
for
right?
thee and not for re? That's right, Ara.
And now here's Amy with the flow.
Never mind, I'm not going to watch
or is
the
it
flow forecast. It's
Era?
disgusting. What a disgusting website that CNN is. To have the flow forecast ad on there, I'm just not going to watch it now. Fuck them. Okay, so...
Oh, wait, well, hold on. I missed this part because I was listening, not watching. The flow forecast.
What a disgusting website that CNN is. To have the flow forecast ad on there, I'm just not going to watch it now. Fuck them.
Wait, is the flow forecast... Hold on, I got to look that up. Is that a period tracking app? I got to look that up. Hold on. Flow forecast. Oh no, it's an investment show. It has nothing to do with women's periods. Okay. So I think he thought it is a period pun, but it's an investment advice thing. Okay. You're weird, Dave.
Okay. So
I determined that in 10 seconds of Googling.
The flow forecast. The fucking flow forecast. Seriously? That's what they have to hit me with. Hold on one second. I'm just going to turn this light off.
Hold on one second. Hold on.
Completely reconnected is what happened. Or disconnected, I should say.
You fucking oaf.
We're going to go full straight days. Show. Right now. Let's see. I have absolutely no clue why this just happened. Oh, the execution. Here, see. All right. Let's watch a little bit of this. Internet trolls post vile messages following United Healthcare CEO's murder.
Well, hold on.
A little bit of this.
New York Post? Motherfucker. All right, you guys know my stance on the New York Post. He is just taking bullshit from anywhere, dude. Anywhere. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah.
Internet trolls post vile messages following United Healthcare CEO's murder. An alarming barrage of social media posts appear to be in support of the execution of the CEO. Former Washington Post reporter Taylor Lorenz posted this to X's progressive competitor, Blue Sky. And people wonder why we want these executives dead. Blue Cross Blue Shield in Connecticut, New York, and Missouri has declared it will no longer pay for anesthesia for the full length of some surgeries. If the procedure goes over a certain time, anesthesia will not be covered for the duration. Okay?
I mean, so, all right, let's step in one layer here. Let's say that this is true. And let's say that a company let's say that a company like United Healthcare can get away with not covering anesthesia for the full duration of a procedure. The cost of anesthesia is astronomical. Why do you think anesthesiologists make between 300 and 600K per year? It's a difficult job, and the labor is intensive because you're basically in charge of keeping people alive in a coma while they're in surgery. So you can imagine how people may get upset at a healthcare company if they're not going to cover anesthesia costs for the entire duration of a procedure. Imagine waking up from surgery and thinking about the idea that, oh, maybe anesthesia is only going to be covered by insurance for 2.5 hours of my 5-hour procedure. That would make people a little bit upset. Like, to be perfectly honest, I'm not surprised people hate Brian Thompson. I'm really not, because he's I honestly don't care if he had a wife or a family or whatever from the idea of like public perception. People don't like him because he's the face of a multinational, multi-billion-dollar a year corporation that is making it difficult for people to get what they need. So I understand why people are upset. Like, I get it. And the idea that Phil, of all people, doesn't understand that is very odd to me. And like, I wouldn't call this post by Taylor Lorenz a troll post. Like, calling them troll, like calling this a troll message is wrong. Like, NYP is being a troll by calling this a troll message because it's a pointed message on the internet about, inequity in insurance, but it's not a troll post, because with a troll post, you basically are trying to be a bully, and like, they're not this Taylor Lorenz is not trying to be a bully. She's trying to make a point. She's trying to be like, yeah, maybe it is fucked up that health insurance don't want to cover anesthesia for full length procedures. Oh, big ups, Len. What's up, dude?
Anesthesia will not be covered for the duration.
Big ups, Pokey. Good to see you, man.
Okay.
This is dumb. I didn't catch this because I was listening.
A story about Blue Cross Blue Shield.
We'll do a call-in. I'm going to do a call-in segment after this story, by the way. So get your troll phones ready.
Why is that going so fast? Limiting coverage for anesthesia.
That's right.
And she even
Doom Scrivener's got you covered, Pokey. He's got you. He sees you.
Of the company's CEO, Kim Keck, to encourage peaceful letter writing campaigns. So wait a minute. She posts a tweet. Or excuse me, a post is Blue Sky, so it's not a tweet.
Kim Keck? That sounds like a troll name, by the way. Like, Kim Keck sounds like a fake name. Keck. I don't know.
It's a website no one uses. But she posts something on Blue Sky saying,
I don't know. A lot of people use Blue Sky. Like, I don't use Blue Sky or Twitter or Truth. I don't use like any. I post on Twitter maybe once or twice a week, or maybe I'll like a Dark Sea to Phil post or like a Lefty post, but that's it.
Oh, we wonder why we want these people dead. Oh, by the way, here's the CEO that's denying people coverage. Write letters? You literally just said in your phrase before.
What's up, fluctuating miasma?
Or you want these people dead. I don't think that's actually letters that you're possibly trying to incite.
Wait, what did he say? Hold on.
You literally just said in your phrase before you want people dead. Oh, by the way, or excuse me, a post is Blue Sky, so it's not a photo of the company's CEO, Kim Keck, to encourage peaceful letter writing campaigns. So wait a minute. She posts a tweet, or excuse me, a post is Blue Sky, so it's not a tweet. It's a website no one uses. But she posts something on Blue Sky saying, oh, we wonder why we want these people dead. Oh, by the way, here's the CEO that's denying people coverage. Write letters?
No, that's not the same thing. Telling people to write letters to someone is not the same thing as wanting them dead. Like, how does he not understand that? That's not the same thing. A peaceful call to action to write letters is not the same thing as Taylor Lorenz wanting Kim Keck no longer alive anymore, because you shouldn't say the D word or K word on YouTube. That's not the same thing, dude.
You literally just said in your phrase before you want these people dead.
He's an idiot. Well, I guess we're here because he's an idiot.
You're possibly trying to incite. Lorenz is far from alone, as many on X are showing a flippant disregard for Thompson's life. The important thing about the assassination of the United Healthcare CEO is that no people...
I mean, yeah, are people being flip about Brian Thompson's death? Absolutely. I can't disagree with that. However, I don't know. People are going to say what they want. Is it disrespectful? Yes, but it's the internet and people are going to say what they want.
Were hurt. Wow. I have
What's
United
up,
Healthcare, and I
Dayglow?
feel like shooting the CEO around this time every year when they raise the already ridiculous premiums and
Dayglow, my man, coming in with the fire. Dayglow says, if a lot of people are celebrating your passing, then that shows a lot about the life they led. Yes, absolutely. What's up, Dayglow? Good to see you.
co-pays, so I'm not really surprised. For those who don't know, American healthcare works in a very weird and mysterious way. Basically, every single year, at the end of the year, you get a message from your health insurance company that says, FYI, we are raising your premiums by this amount and we're reducing your coverage, meaning you'll get less.
No, that's not how it happens for me. My premiums have stayed kind of the same year over year over year. It's just costs of living has gone up. It's the idea that like cost of living is a bigger pinch than healthcare premiums, but the issue in healthcare is not the premiums. And that's not what they're talking about here. They're not talking about rising costs of premiums. That's not the issue. What they're talking about is the idea that health insurance companies are charging you the same amount of money, but covering less year over year over year. That's the conversation that people are having.
But we're going to charge you more. This literally happens.
That's right,
every
Tattoo
single
Jesus.
Year. And
That's
some
right.
years, if let's say
He said
during
that.
that year, okay, you got diagnosed with something bad. What if you got diagnosed with, I don't know, diabetes or something like that? Oh, because you have diabetes and we know you're going to have ongoing healthcare costs, we're going to monstrously increase your premiums. Okay? So I can understand.
No, again, it's more like, so the few people that I know that need like life-saving medication, right? It's not that they're increasing premiums. It's that like, oh, your insulin syrettes are no longer covered, by the way. We've been covering your insulin syrettes for the past 7 years, but your insulin syrettes are no longer covered. Those are the stories I'm hearing. I'm not hearing about about companies hiking premiums because they don't, because they know that they kind of can't in this economy. So instead of hiking premiums, they're actually like this person, like Monkey with a Knife is wrong, Phil is wrong. All of the stories that I have heard have been about denial of coverage.
People who are having issues with their health insurance companies and the insane exorbitant costs associated with them and all of that. I don't really understand.
And also, even in the cases where premiums do rise, people are saying, well, why are you raising my premiums and covering less? Some people are getting it both ways. Think about it.
And the statement, I feel like shooting the CEO around this time every year. I'm not exactly sure that murdering the CEO of a healthcare company would solve that problem.
But also it's Twitter. It's Twitter. Twitter is full of brain rot. Twitter has more brain rot than DSP's chat. Like, I'd rather hang out in DSP's chat, which I have sometimes. I've had 2 of his chats open, and then hang out on Twitter. Notice how you can occasionally see the Taken L's channel in DSP's chat just hanging out, but I never tweet anything. If you see a tweet from Taken L's, it's still Lefty, by the way. Lefty may not post or stream on this channel anymore, but if you see a Twitter post from Taken L's, it's probably Lefty. Big ups,
the
Lefty.
CEO is dead. And did you hear about a public relief and a big rousing, victory for those who have health insurance?
All right, I don't care.
Because I'm not the CEO of a highly divisive multi-billion-dollar insurance company. Okay, I don't really understand that one. Like, are they trying to say that this person, this Samantha, is saying something wrong? Wait,
all right, I don't want to see him react to Twitter. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, here's the back. Held most low. He's actually rich. Went to an Ivy League school. Was the valedictorian in high school. Was well known and loved and regarded by everyone around him. Apparently had a level head and a level mind. Okay, and then all of a sudden goes and murders the CEO of a major healthcare company, right? And of course, all we can do right now until we get...
It wasn't sudden, by the way. He didn't suddenly go and murder. Like, he trained and practiced and printed a gun and knew exactly... It was like Hitman. He knew exactly where Brian Thompson was going to be when he had an exit. It wasn't all of a sudden. This was trained for... This was planned for months. So, no.
All the facts, all we can do is speculate on what really happened here. Where did things go wrong? You know what I mean? But
you typed this is meaningful during a Begman and got banned. Yeah,
broken because again, healthcare in America
that tracks Fort Worth
is
raised.
based on
I'm sorry,
profits. It is literally not based on how many people did we help or save, how many people, what common good did we do for people on the world. When you think about it, though, I mean, doctors too. Doctors in America are for
exactly. My man Embode coming in. They can't raise prices, so they cut costs. Exactly. Because they cannot, like, the thing is, health insurance companies cannot really justify raising prices at an economical time like this because things just cost too much. Things just cost too much. They're going to have fewer premiums paid if they raise prices. So they're going to keep prices where they are so people can keep paying their premiums, but then they're going to deny coverage as much as they possibly can.
It's their job. They get paid to practice medicine. They're not doing it to help people. They're not graded on how many people they help. They're graded on just how many hours they put in. It's not a charity. It's not a handout. It's, hey, it's a for-profit deal. Other countries, that's not the case. Okay? In other countries, very much so, healthcare is a universal right given to everyone that is controlled by a centralized government. All right? And different countries have different takes on it. Like, for example, I talked to someone in the UK, and they said basically the way it works is, yes, it's all free. You don't have to pay for it. But when you have an issue, you could be sitting there waiting months upon months to actually get the treatment that you need. You can't just go to the doctor and get the treatment unless it's an absolute emergency.
I mean, you can. However, we do have Steve of the Dead's example where Steve of the Dead was on a waiting list for how long for his spinal surgery? Like 2.5 years or something. So yes, if the National Health Service determines that you can wait, they're going to make you wait.
To keep you alive. Outside of that, you will be sitting and waiting endlessly to go get your health care. Is that the solution? That you have this centralized universal healthcare system, but it takes ages to get the quality of care that you need. And on top of that, some people actually report that the healthcare you get is not even that good. That it's actually kind of mid to low tier. They're not really solving the problem. It's just mitigation. It's to a point where it's like you wish you didn't even go in some cases. That's terrible, right? That's absolutely awful. Okay. But man, I personally
it happens.
Experience,
dude. Fluctuating miasma as part of my old job when I worked disability claims, I would have to talk to people that would wait months or years for the organ donor list. Because if someone needed like a kidney or like a partial liver transplant, you wait years for that shit.
With American healthcare, like I said, my parents, each of them have chronic
conditions. WWE Champions time.
These are things that need to be
thanks for the support.
Over time.
Smitty Weberman Jensen says, Extra guy talked to someone. Why does he lie?
He lies because he must. Smitty Weberman Jensen. Thank you for the 2, my friend.
As best as can be. And when you are getting a treatment,
he never talks to anyone.
And then out of the blue, you go back to the doctor to receive the treatment again, and you're told, we're not covering it anymore because this health insurance company is deciding it's too expensive and we want to cut costs, so you're denied. Wait, what? I'm still paying the premiums. The contract, I didn't break the contract or anything. What do you mean you're not going to pay? We just don't care about you. We're not going to.
Health insurance companies can literally decide what they pay and what they won't. You have to push them and twist their arm to get what you need sometimes. You really do.
Going to pay. Tough. Now we have an option. This other thing. Well, that's not actually, it's not even the same of what I was
All
getting.
right, this is a dumb shit take. We're skipping. We're skipping.
Now, guys, as you can see, we had some contributions.
Now, guys,
and absolutely.
All right, we'll listen to the we'll listen to the segment.
This is a show that people literally ask.
And then I'll take some calls.
Said, Phil, do a political show. We want to hear your takes on politics. You want to get these stories covered and everything. Well, here I am. And we're doing the show.
Here I am.
All right. We have like 180 viewers, which I'm not surprised we don't have the 200 because we got Game Awards going on.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But I feel like I literally.
That's right. He's directly competing. A gaming stream is directly competing with the Game Awards and talking about politics. That's right. He cucked himself. He cucked his own stream to the Game Awards. I completely forgot about that lore.
Could be doing any other stream, and I literally could be doing any other stream. And probably things would be going better.
So why didn't you do it? Why didn't you do it?
And I don't know, because at first I was definitely getting support, and now I'm not. Like, look, I got 1 sub tonight. And again, this show is exclusively streamed on Kick, so where is the support? All of you in chat right now, there's tons of you who don't have subs. Do you like the show? If you do, support it. If not,
whoa,
what are you doing here?
Either subscribe, donate, or get the fuck out. I don't have that on my soundboard, but if I did.
Right? But please support the show. If you don't like the show, then leave. Because that way I can judge if it's popular or people want to see it or not.
Stupid.
Right? I kind of feel like I'm doing all this work, putting the show together every week, and I'm not sure if you guys like it or not. At first I thought you did, but I think what was happening is I was getting a lot of view bots.
This is great.
A ton of view bots.
Yeah, he did. So I saw that, Timothy. I saw him watch trailers.
There hasn't been any, right?
I'm legitimately excited for The Witcher, by the way.
It's a politics show. I don't give a shit about Astrobot. Okay.
The Witcher looks dope.
So yeah, I guess we'll see.
Grimner, you are coping, okay, my friend.
Last week we only
you are
coping.
coping.
I definitely hope that the show does garner some support, or else I think I'm just gonna go ahead and maybe not do it anymore. Maybe instead just go back to gaming every night, because the gaming's definitely doing better than this, And this takes a lot of work. This is a show that I've
fluctuating miasma. All the work of reading headlines and clicking links.
Work just for me to do instead of just streaming games.
Coping and seething. Watch out, Grimner.
The bottom line is real. No, I didn't see your offer. I didn't see an offer. I was doing the show. I was very frustrated by the stupid lighting. It pisses me off that it disconnected again.
Okay.
The bottom line is real. We're not changing the fucking stream to a game now, dude.
Yes. I love these little segments where I love these little segments where he's down, he's defeated. People are kind of fucking with him just a little bit, and he's trying to act like he's above it all, but he can't. It's really funny. Hard disagree on that, Raven of Chaos. I don't know if you've been paying attention to The Witcher, but Dandelion is a pansexual bard who'll fuck anything. Witcher's been woke since Witcher 1, my man. I don't know what to tell you. If making Siri look a little bit rough is woke, no, that's not woke. No, not even close.
Anyway, all right. Well, we have a couple more topics to get to tonight, thankfully. Get out of this one here. Okay.
All right, we'll call that a segment, and I'll take some calls if anybody wants to jump in and take calls. Let's see. I'm going to check the troll phone and the Discord. You can hop into the waiting room in the Discord. There's a link in the description of the video, and also the call-in number, if anybody wants to call in phone style, is 1-917-740-8933. That number again is 1-917-740-8933. Your number will remain anonymous, but if you want to ensure that for yourself, use *67 before dialing. One more time, that number is 1-917-740-8933. So I'll give a minute or so for people to filter into the chats. Or ring up on the phone, and if we don't have a call-in segment, we'll just go ahead and move on. I'll take this little opportunity to give some lore here. So my lady friend and I, we took our cat to the vet on Thursday for a checkup, and the veterinary techs were like, "Hey, Rosie needs some blood work." It's like, all right, I had a DSP moment where I was like, all right, well, she needs some blood work. What's it going to cost? They were like $300. So I got the $300 blood work foisted upon me, just like Phil did. But you know what I did? I said, yeah, sure. We love this cat. We'll get her blood work. But I can verify from personal experience, apparently $300 blood work is a thing that happens. It was wild that the lady came out of the back of the vet and she's like, well, if we do this comprehensive blood panel, it's going to be $300, but it'll determine if her thyroid medication is working. And I was like, you know what? If we can care for her thyroid a little bit better, let's fucking go. So we paid the money and we got the blood work. Because we're good pet owners. Yeah, Ravon. I got upsold hard. No, we're responsible pet owners, and we like the cat we have. All right, no calls yet, but feel free to chime in. Anybody that wants to. I'll be watching the phones, but I will. I'll move on. Enough stalling, okay? All right, moving on to the next segment. I may skip
4 stories there.
Syria. Oh no. You know what? I have a field trip. I have a little field trip planned. So we just heard DSP's take on health insurance. Here is his take on health insurance from September 30th of 2020. So let's take this little field trip and let's see what he had to say about health insurance. Let's fucking go.
Unreal. All right. So anyway, in summary, I wasted 3 hours of my time yesterday. I paid money at the doctor's office to do this. It's not doctor's office, urgent care facility. I paid money at this facility to have a guy look in my ear and tell me what I already knew, to hand me another bottle of the same...
For context, this was the second ear infection of the ear infection arc of 2020, if anybody remembers that.
medicine I've already been using all year.
That's right. I should have bought Street Fighter on 3 different platforms instead of Bloodwork. Yeah, what am I talking about? I only have 2 platforms. I don't even have 3 platforms. I just have a PC and a PS5. Big up Spank Leaks. Good to see you.
Give me any kind of a resolution whatsoever to my problem and just hand me a specialist. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention.
By the way.
Guess where the specialist is located? In the same building as the urgent care facility. So when I have to go to the specialist, I have to drive another hour to and from and basically have another day that should be a day with my wife that's wasted driving on the road to go to this.
Why are you driving an hour to an urgent care facility? That doesn't seem very urgent. Hello?
Fucking specialist. Unbelievable. Unfucking believable. This is American healthcare at its finest.
Here we go.
Now, the thing is, it's not like there's no doctors near me. I'm surrounded by doctors. Everywhere I go, I see urgent care facility. I see a million doctors' offices around me. But guess what? My insurance won't cover any of them. I have to drive an hour to get somewhere.
5 minutes rounds up to an hour.
This is what I
That's right,
hate
Mbode.
about American healthcare.
I'm just being a mouth drooler, I guess.
These insurance companies don't give 2 fucks about the patients that they're covering. All they care about is their bottom line. That's the truth of it.
Based Phil. Based Phil from 2020.
Care that they're supposed to be providing a service to a person who's sick. All they care about is making money. So who cares? Urgent care is an hour away.
Yep.
How is that urgent?
Yeah, Penitent said. I remember I had either Meth Bear was in the chat or maybe I had him. I've had him on stream a bunch, but Meth Bear also confirmed that I think Phil had a Kaiser Permanente gold plan. And Kaiser Permanente, for anybody that's not familiar, is very picky about where you can go and when. Like, they're very aggressively priced, so you can get like a decent deal on healthcare in a lot of cases, but they're like they basically dictate your care plan.
And I need someone to sew it up right away. Urgent care, drive an hour to get to the facility.
Yeah, dude, Timothy Grimley, I have an urgent care facility like less than 3 minutes down the street from me. No, you shouldn't be driving an hour to urgent care. Like, what? Hello?
But if I go to the hospital over here, which I could do, there's a hospital nearby, they'll charge me $5,000 to $10,000 for walking in the door. That's American healthcare for you. It's not care at all. It's a joke. I'm so fucking tired of this shit.
Okay, see? It's interesting that this was Phil's opinion in 2020 when he had minor ear infections. Minor ear infections, and then when Brian Thompson is murdered on the street, he's like, well, why would anyone want to kill a healthcare CEO? Isn't that interesting, right?
Okay. By the way, I received a $2 tip. What's up, man?
I don't care about the tip segments.
I fucking blew it horribly, and 4 of my gameplay videos have gone either here on the show tonight.
I don't care.
December. Advance this whole Syrian conflict.
Oh, you know what? You know what, guys? I'm making an executive decision because this segment is boring. We're skipping Syria, by the way. We're skipping Syria, and I'll go to.
What a change of tone, right? Opposition elections of Syrian optimal.
Long-time President
Where
we're skipping Syria.
It's go back. Okay, so logical weapons that were. Right?
This is boring as shit.
I'm just. All right. It seems like originally for the third and final segment. Here we go.
Here we go. But I do have a field trip to go on in regards to Syria. Are you guys ready?
I've never.
This is a short. Why did it?
I wanted to make a. I've never. I wanted to make.
Why is it do? Okay. This is a short. From that being said, pay attention, because this is going to be our whole Syria content, and then we're moving on to the Jordan Neely story. But here we go.
Make a quick video today on Thanksgiving in the United States to say thank you.
Oh yes, this is a classic short, by the way.
I haven't got.
Fuck you. No, really. Fuck you. You are.
I love this short.
Moron. You are an asshole. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
No
Terrible. I swear to God. Freaking. You Jews, you Mexicans, you Asians are so demanding.
I missed the sound box. Penitent sin.
Go fuck yourself.
I gotta be honest.
Very nice. And you're a lying cocksucker. So fuck you.
Ears to hear with, arms to hug with, lips to kiss.
Fuck Syria.
All right, there we go. That's it. That is our Syria content. You know what? I don't know. It keeps auto playing this. Stop.
I wanted to make a quick.
Stop fucking auto playing. All right. So that's our Syria content. We're going straight into the Jordan Neely, Daniel Penny thing. And listen, this is rough. This is a rough segment, but I've got some words on it. Yes, I actually agree with you on that, Fort Worth Rays. It is better than him spamming "You blew it," because "You blew it" is like almost 30-year-old reference at this. You know what? When did Billy Madison come out? I'm gonna look that up real quick.
It's part of the night, by the way.
That might be 30 years old at this point.
Okay?
I'm gonna look that up.
Here we go. All right, everyone. It is time for our third and final major topic to be covered tonight on DS Politics. Here we go.
1995. So he is using a 29-year-old reference on his soundboard. 29 years old. Oh, Dayglow, you're in for a treat. Let me tell you.
So, folks, this is one that has been going on for over a year. It's been a very hot topic in United States politics for various different reasons. And at this point, we have a big change, a big update and resolution this week. And this country, once again, is being divided because of it. Let's talk about the case of Jordan Neely and Daniel Penny. On May 1st, 2023, in New York City, Jordan Neely, a 30-year-old homeless American man, was killed after being put into a chokehold by Daniel Penny, a 24-year-old United States Marine Corps veteran. So, Penny, just this week...
That's right, Penitent Sin, we're doing it.
Not guilty of a charge of criminally negligent homicide in relation to Neely's death and a charge of second
Is it really that old, Jay? Holy shit.
Prompted protests and a broader debate around Penny's actions and Neely's circumstances. Now, what we need to do is we need to analyze what happened that day. And now that over a year has passed, a lot of information has been gathered, discussed, and brought up in the trial that we can finally analyze. And I'm going to tell you by the end of this story my conclusions, because what you're going to see is you're going to see everyone reacting. Some people saying this case never should have been brought to trial. It was unjust from the start. You're going to see groups saying this is complete and utter racism and shouldn't be allowed. We even have the deceased's parents speaking up. Okay, so let's do it. Let's take a look at this case, but before we can, we actually
all right,
have
Phil,
to
lay it on
listen
us
to the facts of what happened. So here we go.
What's your dumb
Neely
take,
boarded
Philip?
a New York City subway train at the 2nd Avenue station just before it departed, and reportedly began screaming that he was hungry, thirsty, he needed a job, saying he was not afraid of going to prison and was ready to die, threatening people. Juan Alberto Vasquez, a freelance journalist who witnessed this incident, said Neely removed his jacket and he threw it onto the floor. In response to which other passengers started, backing away, moving away from this guy. What the hell is this guy's problem? He seems like he's out of his mind. Vasquez says he did not witness Neely assault anyone, but other witnesses reported fearing death as a result of Neely's actions, which included him throwing trash directly at other passengers and approaching them as if he was going to grab them or do something to them. So, after witnessing this...
First thing I would like to point out is that DSP is reading a wiki entry on the death of Jordan Neely. Wiki entries are written by people. They're written by people. They can be edited by anyone. I could go in there and I could put anything in that wiki entry. So I think that context bears pointing out. I would not trust a wiki entry when talking about a person's death, right?
Going on. Daniel Penny.
Yeah, it was a lot of work to pull that up, guys. Dear God.
Penny maintained that hold after the train reached the stop because they were on the way to a stop. It was Broadway Lafayette Street. Other passengers held the doors open to prevent the train from moving. So people saw what was going on. They saw this guy was acting absolutely
Penitent Sin, I agree with you. However, Wikipedia can be a good jumping off point for research. In college, I used to use it as a jumping off point. What you should do is you should pull up a wiki article and then you should follow the sources they cite. That's how I would start a lot of college research. But he's not even going a level deeper. In order to make wiki articles credible, you have to go a level deeper and you have to check it yourself.
And crazy. He was literally saying, I need a job, I need food. I don't care if I die, I don't care if I go to jail. And he's throwing shit and he's slamming shit and he's coming at people. So this guy sees this going on and says, I got to put a stop to this.
Correct, Epion. He does.
Takes him down.
He wants money for TTS.
All the people on the train recognize what happened and actually prevent the train from moving so that this thing can be resolved. Okay?
No, he did.
So,
he absolutely did. Snood and ALT looked at his wiki tracking changes in, I forgot what stream it was on. It was on a WPIG stream. I forgot where and when, but I remember watching Snood and ALT, so it was a Snalt stream, and they were looking at his own wiki edits, and it was so fucking funny.
During the chokehold, some bystanders warned Penny about Neely's health. One said, "You're going to kill him now," while others held in holding down Neely until police arrived. So it seemed like at the scene, people were of different opinions. Perhaps hot on some people's minds were the George Floyd situation from 2020 and didn't want to see a reenactment of that happen, while others realized this guy was acting like a public menace and needed to be restrained until the cops showed up.
Snalt is very funny. Snalt is probably my favorite streaming couple, even more than Snood and Indrid. I think that Snalt is the ultimate detractor power couple, if you ask me. They're unstoppable. They're so fucking funny.
And went limp. Prosecutors alleged the chokehold lasted 6 minutes, while Penny said it lasted less than 5. An unknown amount of time after Penny released Neely, New York Police Department officers arrived. Responding officers stated Neely had a faint pulse upon their arrival. Neely was given the drug naloxone. Excuse me, I'm not a professional. And cardiopulmonary resuscitation by officers at the scene. Shortly thereafter, the New York City Fire Department transported Neely to a hospital. He was pronounced dead. Penny was taken for questioning by the NYPD and released without charge several hours later, but the incident was a national controversy. Critics of Penny joined protests and characterized him as a vigilante, demanding that he be charged, and alleged that he was motivated.
I mean, he was a vigilante. No, like, that's a fact. He unlawfully put someone in a chokehold. Like, that it happened. You have more than a dozen credible eyewitnesses that say it happened. He put a dude in a chokehold from behind. Like, this did happen.
By racism against Neely and African American. Supporters of Penny defended him as a good Samaritan, seeking to protect other passengers, and some donating money to his legal defense. Did this start to sound familiar? Did it sound like another story that we covered earlier tonight?
I'm not a professional. That's right,
background of homelessness and mental health issues, the incident also prompted discussion about the treatment of such individuals in New York City. A medical examiner determined Neely's death to be a homicide by compression of the neck, which was later disputed by Penny's defense lawyers. On May 11, 2023, Penny was charged with second-degree manslaughter and released on bond. He was formally indicted by a grand jury the next month. Additional lesser charge of criminally negligent homicide added a few weeks later. Penny pleaded not guilty to both charges, under which he faced 15 years in prison. 2 men showed in Vasquez's video helping Penny to restrain Neely were not charged. Penny's trial began in October 2024 and concluded in December. The manslaughter charge was dismissed on the request of the prosecutor.
I don't know Palm Primus. I've never been in the military. I've known some Marines. I've never served myself, don't have experience with chokeholds or sleeper holds or something like that. But one of my things listening to this and also reading up on this story myself is that the United States Marines they're trained to kill people. I'm not saying that's inherently bad, but that's what Marines do. Marines kill people, right? Like that's why we send the Marines. They're one of our most formidable fighting forces at our disposal. They know how to kill people. So an argument can be made that Daniel Penny knew that hold was going to be lethal after a certain amount of time. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of what a lot of people are sort of missing. When someone is a member of the armed forces, they should be held to a higher standard when they use something that can be construed as potentially lethal force, right? Like we should hold. Yes. So chokehold was excessive force. Yeah, I've read a lot of articles that say that chokehold was excessive force. I've heard people say that the duration is excessive. I have some former U.S. Marines in my family, and I have friends that are former U.S. Marines, and I've reached out to a couple of them, and they even say that like a 3 to 6 minute chokehold is incredibly excessive. But then again, that's there. Everything is a matter of opinion. But my opinion is that former military service members should be held to a higher standard when they put hands on people. That's my whole. That's where I come at it from. I feel like Daniel Penny probably understood that a long chokehold was going to, at the very least, hurt Jordan Neely a lot.
After the jury deadlocked, and while he was acquitted of the remaining charge of criminally negligent homicide, a wrongful death sued by Neely's father remained pending as of December. So, we know the facts. Okay, at least we know a summary of the facts.
Right
now.
Well, and two. Palm Primus is saying that they are Marine, and the few Marines I've known and talked to have said the same thing. Like they teach us how to kill people. Like basically what I was told by a friend of mine who served in the U.S. Marine Corps was like, there is no non-lethal for Marines. Like we're not taught that way. We're taught to kill threats. It's not a movie. There's no non-lethal takedown. We are trained to kill. So a lot of our practices and methods are designed to kill people, right? And I'm not saying that Daniel Penny intended to kill Jordan Neely. That's not what I'm arguing here. But Marine training, from what I've read and what I've heard, tends to skew towards lethal. You know what I mean? And I think that that's something that DSP is overlooking.
Here that everyone is talking about is in this situation. First of all, let's just get the elephant out of the room. Earlier tonight, we talked about the case of Luigi, who murdered the CEO of United Health.
So Doom Scrivener, that's a very reasonable way to look at it. It's not cold-blooded or premeditated murder, but it's not completely defensible either. Yes, what I've heard from the few people that I've talked to is that Daniel Penny should have known better. He should have known that was a potentially deadly hold to put on someone. Absolutely. And I think that's what a lot of people coming to his defense are not really acknowledging, at least in the shit DSP pulled up.
Okay.
But we'll get there.
That was an outright murder, done on purpose, pre-planned, 3D printed gun, outright done to end someone's life.
But also playing devil's advocate, murder doesn't have to be premeditated. Some murders are accidental. Some murders are crimes of passion.
Okay. In this case, I don't think, at least from anything we just heard, it doesn't sound like Daniel Penny just decided out of nowhere, hey, today I'm going to put a chokehold on someone and murder them in the middle of a New York subway. It doesn't seem like what happened. A little different situation here.
Well, yeah, and there obviously was a different way. Well, what I'll say is there is clearly a different way that this situation in the subway car could have been handled. But it had, someone died, right? Things absolutely could have been done differently. And I think as a U.S. Marine, I think that there should be some culpability for Daniel Penny, because when you're a trained killer who puts hands on someone in civilian life, you should be held to a higher standard. That's just my opinion.
In this situation, we had a person by the name of Jordan Neely who was acting all this time completely erratic, homeless.
Also, I'm just gonna put this out there. I don't like the idea of vigilante justice at all. I don't like the idea of regular citizen. I'm not going to use the word civilian, because in my mind, a trained killer living a civilian life is not a civilian when they put hands on people. That's just my opinion. But I don't like the idea of average people putting hands on people as vigilante justice. I really don't. I think it's a very, very bad precedent to set, because if you can justify going up to someone from behind and putting them in a chokehold on a subway, if you can justify that, what's next? Are you going to be rounding up all of the vagrants in the subway, and then what are you going to do to them? You know what I mean? And I've ridden the 2nd Avenue subway, and what I can tell you about this situation, because I use that subway station all the fucking time. I was there 2 weeks ago. If you have family in Midtown, or you have family on the East End, like I do, that I go visit, it's the subway to use. You get off at 2nd Avenue, and then you can walk up to East End. But what I'll say is there is a racial component to it, because people generally that are going to use the 2nd Avenue subway, specifically the Q train, which I think that this took place on the Q train, they're gonna be mostly white people who are gonna be scared of a black man who's crashing out, right? Like that's kind of the thing. So there is a racial component, at least to the perception of all of this, because the people that I've ridden the queue with would be very, very scared of this dude. So I think you have to take that in context, but also people on the subway, generally speaking, mind their own business. And I've not tangled, but I've interacted with homeless people on the subway, and what you tend to do is you tend to ignore them and leave them alone. You get off at the next stop. That's typically what I do. You ignore it, you leave it alone, you get off at the next stop, and then you catch the next train. Daniel Penny, if eyewitness accounts are to be believed, came up behind this dude and put him in a hold. That's That's very strange. That's very strange to me. You know, I'm not saying that he had malicious intent, but rarely have I seen, and I've seen a lot of homeless people on the subway and on the queue line specifically. Rarely have I seen anybody put hands on anyone or anything happen. It's very, very odd that this occurred the way it did. I think it's excessive. I don't think anybody should put hands on anybody unless their life is threatened, you know?
Okay? Just, out of his mind. Was he on drugs? Was he just crazy because he's homeless and hungry? We don't know. But he's literally on the subway station, freaking out in the subway car, coming at people, saying, I don't care if I live or die. I don't care if I go to prison. He's nuts. And in this case, it sounds like someone here has gotten to a situation where he's going to hurt someone. Like, at least people believe it. Why else are people are backing off? People are like, no, leave me alone. And he's coming after people. All right? So, Daniel Penny, a Marine veteran, says, I'm going to take matters in my own hands. I want to help.
There it is, right there. I'm going to take matters in your own hands. What gives you the right to take matters in your own hands? Right? Like that's kind of the moral question here that DSP is not asking himself. What gave Daniel Penny the right to take matters into his own hands? And I will say there are justifiable circumstances in which you would take the law or matters into your own hands. I'm not going to deny that those circumstances exist, but the question is, was this one of them? That's the question. And that's something that DSP isn't really grappling with.
These people around me who are now in danger. Perhaps he didn't feel himself as much in danger, being that he was a 24-year-old Marine. He's trained to defend himself. But he sees this guy's coming after other people in the train car.
Not trained. Again, I'm not besmirching the armed forces. I'm just stating fact. Marines are not trained to defend themselves. Marines are trained to kill people. Marines are killers. I have family members that are Marines, and they have told me time and time again, we kill people. That's what we do. So you can't make the you can't even make the self-defense argument in this case, because if true, Daniel Penny came up on Jordan Neely from behind and put him in a hold. That's not self-defense. You could say that he was defending others, or you could say that the intention was to defend others, but a guy died. Like, that's the thing. A guy died. And if someone dies, well, you put them in a chokehold. Is it your fault? Is it justifiable?
He's like, I got to do something. Okay? So he steps up and he puts him in the chokehold. And it wasn't just him. Other people saw and helped him hold him down in the chokehold. Yeah, well, and two, so fluctuating miasma raises a good point. If the Marine dude was a tourist, I could see him trying to defend everyone. And that's the thing. That's the difference between New York City tourists and people that spend a lot of time in New York City. New York City tourists will feel the need to get involved when things like that happen on the subway. From the things that I've seen, and I've spent a lot of time on the New York City subway, believe me, and the people that try to be fucking heroes are the tourists. And the full-timers that live in New York City, or the people that spend a lot of time there, are not the people that get involved. You don't be a fucking hero. You get off at the next stop. You catch the next train. That's what every New Yorker does, right? Okay, Penitent Sin is from Long Island. Okay, big ups Long Island. Yeah, we've got family in Long Island too. So yeah, absolutely. So apparently there was enough concern.
But I don't know, but I'd be willing to think that Daniel Penny was probably a tourist, because New Yorkers don't fuck with homeless people. We just ignore them and we walk on by.
That this guy was crazy and was going to hurt people. Right? So this is not, the one guy. It was a group of people acted together to restrain this man. Does it sound like Daniel Penny was actively trying to murder him? Probably not. It's unfortunate that Lance.
I mean, what if I told you both Mbode? What if I told you that both are unacceptable? Someone's death on the subway is unacceptable, and also being shaken down for money, they're both unacceptable. They're both terrible. If you've spent any amount of time in the New York City subway system, homelessness is a huge problem. I'm not going to deny that homelessness is a huge problem, and certain aspects of that do make things feel unsafe, but the idea is that someone died. You know what I mean? Burnell. Hello. Burnell?
Or excuse me, that Jordan Neely did die. I don't know where I got Lance from. That Jordan Neely did die. That's sad. No one obviously in this case should have died, but it happened. And then he went to trial for it. Should he be held accountable? for his actions. Okay.
Yes, fluctuating
Now,
miasma says
the jury
accidental
deadlock,
homicide
well,
is still a
essentially, at the end
crime.
of the day,
Yes,
they said
and
they cannot get this guy.
That's sort of where I land on this. An argument can be made for Daniel Penny saving lives, potentially. You can make that argument. But that doesn't mean he shouldn't be charged, you know? The argument that someone shouldn't be charged for someone's death because they maybe saved someone's life is stupid.
For these charges. There's not enough evidence to say that he was responsible. You know, that's that. Now, let's take a look at opposing views of the situation. Unjust from the start, the case against Daniel Penny should never have been brought. So, New Yorkers concerned about public safety are breathing a sigh of relief after a Manhattan jury acquitted Daniel Penny of criminally negligent.
Nope, that's not me. That's not me, Raven of Chaos. I don't record shit. I get off at the next stop, mind my own fucking business.
Homicide in the May 2023 death of Jordan Neely. Aside from small groups of far-left agitators calling for Penny's head, many observers seem skeptical from the get-go of Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's effort to imprison Penny for physically restraining Neely, who burst into a New York City subway car in the midst of a psychotic episode and began threatening and menacing riders. Public skepticism was well-founded. Prosecutors...
So, fluctuating miasma, you've gotten to my entire point of this segment, which is at the end of the day, it's up to a jury. And really, this story is not a political story. This is not politics. This is drama. This is a drama story about a court case, which is not politics. This is culture war bullshit used to distract us from what is actually going on.
Thank you for the
This is a culture war story, not a political story. There's a difference. People would rather get into the identity politics of was this a racially motivated crime than understand what is actually going on, which is that someone died and it is up to a jury whether or not that homicide was justifiable. You can throw in all of the culture war stuff you want to throw in, but at the end of the day, it's up to a jury.
should never have brought this case.
Just like the trial of Luigi Mangione will ultimately be up to a jury.
Neely was a repeat criminal offender. He racked up.
Yes, yes. People have tried to politicize and twist it into something that is something that is racially motivated. I don't find it to be racially motivated at all. I think that I think that there are racial inequities in policing and the justice system. Yes, but was Jordan Neely put into chokehold because he was a black man? No. Was he being disruptive on the subway? Yes. Was a chokehold and then his later death justified? Not for me to decide. It's for a jury to decide.
42 prior arrests, including for assaults on women on the subway. He had a documented history of serious mental illness, worsened by repeated drug use. This isn't to say, of course, he deserved to die. It is to say that
Trenton's rough, Fort Worth raids, though. I've spent some time in Trenton. Trenton is a rough city. I bet Texas is better. So, but Trenton's rough.
Time bomb. Instead of being put in jail or compelled to enter an inpatient psychiatric care facility, he was permitted to roam the streets. This was
I think it's really that. It's like the identities in this story are homeless man Jordan Neely and U.S. Marine veteran Daniel Penny. There are racial components to this story for sure, but I don't think anything was racially motivated.
Choice, which means the situation in which Penny and his fellow commuters found themselves in May 2023 was the byproduct of the government's failure, one of many such failures, lest we forget about Ramon Rivera's alleged stabbing spree last month. This is not...
Well, so Humalong and Doom Scrivener are getting into the class aspect of things, which ultimately is where this leans, right? This is between the haves and have-nots. And the thing is, stories like this, the politicization and culture war aspect of stories like this are to make people like us, the normies, argue with each other and fight with each other so that we misunderstand the inequity in our society. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever give in to astonishment, because the culture war twist on this story, which I find to be a very straightforward story, to be honest, the question is not, was this racially motivated? The question is whether this homicide was justifiable. And that's not up to any of us to decide. But the story itself and the way the story is being spun is to distract us from the real issue, that there is social and economic inequity in the system. So do not give in to astonishment, people. Fucking read.
Even like a rare occurrence, folks. In the United States, especially major metropolitan areas, this kind of story is actually becoming common. Someone is mentally ill. Someone is on drugs. Someone is a repeat offender criminal. They get arrested. They get thrown in jail. Revolving door. Tossed right the hell back out. They do it again. In, out, in, out, in, out. What kind of a justice system do we have?
And Phil just strengthened what I just said. It's about inequity, right? Because if you're arrested 42 times, if the alleged 42 arrests of Jordan Neely are true, how is he supposed to get a job? How are you supposed to get a job being arrested 42 times? Who's going to vouch for you? Do you have references? No. All you do is you have a record that says you were arrested 42 times. Who's going to hire you? How are you going to make money? How are you going to make money to buy clothes to show up for an interview? What's your past work experience? This is a class issue, and it's about inequity, right? That's exactly what it's about. But instead, people want to muddle it and make it a race rights issue and things like that.
I'm not even saying in this case, okay? I'm not even saying that in this case, this is like, oh, they didn't do anything for him. In this case,
correct. So John Bono, I've known people who have been in jail. I've known people who have served their sentence and gotten out of jail. And even under the best circumstances, even if you can get a job after being convicted of crimes and serving your time, your options are severely limited, even in the best of circumstances. So the idea that Phil doesn't understand that, like, even on his best day, Jordan Neely's options are so limited that the odds of being homeless are still incredibly high.
they probably did. They probably offered him, here's some housing assistance, here's this, here's that. The problem is, in this country, if you're a repeat offender, okay, why is there no actual accountability for your actions? You know what they say, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. This guy's a 42-time offender. 42 arrests, and they can't figure out that this guy may do it again, and perhaps it's not the right idea.
Okay, Phil, so what's your solution? Like, what bothers me about what he's saying right here is, oh, he's been arrested 42 times and people have no idea they'll do it again. No, fuck yeah, they know he's going to do something again. It's a matter of time. People that are repeat offenders to this extent are going to reoffend. That is a known. That is a known. But the problem is there's nothing to help them. There's nothing to keep them out of trouble. There's nothing to disincentivize this type of behavior. It's like Hum Along is saying, homelessness is a loop. They're just barely making it. When you're just barely making it, you can have one bad day, be at your fucking wit's end, have some kind of mental break on the subway car like Jordan Neely did. And at best, you'll be arrested again. At best. At worst, you'll be dead, which is what happened to him.
To let him out again into the streets to say, oh, here's some housing, here's this, go do it yourself. Obviously, he can't fucking do it himself. 42 chances, and the guy's still on the streets. Insane.
So is Phil implying that he would rather have people like this dead? I think that's what he's saying. I think that's what he's actually saying. Because you have one of two options. You can house them in a correctional facility for an undisclosed period of time, which will cost the taxpayers money. Or you can have them not exist anymore? ? Is that what Phil is saying? Because I see two options. Other than releasing Jordan Neely and hoping for the best, those are the two options that I see. And Phil is giving no prescriptions, by the way. All he's saying is, well, they shouldn't have let him out. Well, then what does that mean? What does that actually mean? This is what also frustrates me about Phil so much politically, is that he will start to make a bold claim and then step back at the very last second. What does not letting him out actually mean, Phil? What does it actually mean to you?
Hey, that's our system. What kind of a system is that? Gee, I wonder why the streets are unsafe. I wonder why we have so many criminals. You know what I'm saying? I really wonder why. This is why.
Well, Phil is one of those people that will say, I want lower taxes, but also these people should be in jail for longer. Who do you think pays for that, Phil? Money's got to come from somewhere. Who pays for the prison system? Your taxes. The New York State taxpayer, me, would be paying for Jordan Neely to be in prison, right? They would be.
Honestly, because our system is busted and broken. There's no accountability for actions anymore.
Michael, housebound man gives us tales from the streets. That's right.
So now, here he is, threatening all these people.
Oh, dude, Beavis Bateman, you have not seen Unhinged, my brother. It gets 10 times worse.
On a subway.
Just wait.
And someone says, I have to take action because he's going to attack people. And then you say, that's the person who did the wrong thing?
Listen to what he just said. This is Unhinged. Jordan Neely is being disruptive on the subway, and then someone says, I have to take action, and that's the person who's paying for it. Phil, a person died. A person died, my man. Leave it to Phil to show more sympathy for I'm not gonna call Daniel Penny a murderer. That's not for me to say. That's not for me to say. But what I'll say is this: leave it to Phil to show more sympathy for the guy who lived than the guy who died. Think about that.
Not the person with 42 offenses, but is still free on the streets.
So he is saying that a life is worth more than another. He is literally saying that one life is worth more than another. Okay, Phil, sure. And also, Daniel Penny is a trained killer. Like, that's something that DSP is like not taking into account. Daniel Penny is a trained killer.
I'm going to feel like there's something wrong with our system here.
So I'm going to tell you guys what I believe. I believe that Daniel Penny probably had the best of intentions. I believe that Daniel Penny felt like he was helping people, but I also believe that there is negligence to be leveled on Daniel Penny's part. Absolutely. I believe at best Daniel Penny was negligent.
Thanks for the
Big
support.
ups Women's Cardigan.
Women's Cardigan, my wife outgrew says. DSP and bad sources, a common theme. City
Yes.
Journal once posted a piece that said legalizing gay marriage would be a stepping stone to legalizing polygamy.
What? How does that make sense? How does that make sense? Gay marriage is not polygamy. And by the way, the Mormons have been doing polygamy for decades, if not 100 years. All right?
The Penny prosecution is even harder to swallow given the evidence suggesting the perception of Neely as a threat was reasonable.
Yeah, he's got
The decision
bad
to restrain
media
the response was
literacy.
reasonable. Whatever one makes of this specific method of restraint, Penny was not trying to kill Neely. He released him as soon as he became aware Neely had lost consciousness and could no longer fight. And that Penny's lack of criminal history, military service, and cooperation with authorities undermine any suggestion that the public would benefit from his incarceration. So basically, what people are saying here is it doesn't make sense that anyone actually came after this guy to begin with. Seems like everything was always in the right, okay?
So what people are saying, or what this particular article is saying, is that the homicide was justifiable and no trial should go forward, which is wrong, which is like morally, ethically, and legally wrong. If someone dies, there should be a trial. Correct? Phil.
How about this? Is there any answer to the question of why the DA, the district attorney, went after him, except it was the most politically beneficial move for a DA who didn't want to risk losing his progressive?
No, the district attorney brought charges up on Daniel Penny because he placed a man in a chokehold, and that man died. That man died as a result of the chokehold. Like, there's no getting around that, right? Whether you think it's justifiable or not, a person died.
Base in a re-election bid. And there you have it, folks. I hate to say it, but we've now focused in on a lot of the issues with our country. We have a justice system.
I've seen similar
justice system is
takes.
supposed to be
Women's
universal and
Cardigan.
treats everyone
I've seen
equally,
similar takes to
but
that.
it doesn't. Our justice system is very much based on sadly progressive values.
No, our justice system is not based on progressive values. All right, my lefty liberal side is going to come out. Our justice system is based on slave catching. Basically, our justice system is so draconian. It's based on punishment. It's not based on actually solving problems. It's based on punishing people for their crimes, putting them in a cage in a very like draconian way. To say that our justice system is a liberal justice system is actually insane. Actually insane.
Okay, we have a justice system that someone will have 42 offenses and still be let out into the streets. But then someone says, I have to stop this guy from hurting people, and they try to put him on fucking trial for murder. Like, what? Why didn't that guy get 42 offenses?
Because it was a homicide. Like the question, and that's kind of what that's kind of what I was trying to say earlier, is that like this is all a distraction. Like making this a culture war story is all a distraction. The question is, was the homicide of Jordan Neely justified? Yes or no? Was it justifiable homicide? The question is, the question was never, should he or should he not be brought up on trial? Someone died. Of course he should be brought up on trial. That should be a non-starter. Like, yes, of course. Anybody that's responsible for someone else's death should be brought up on, like when police officers shoot people, right? Because police officers shoot people dead all the time. They have trials. Officer involved shootings go to trial all the time. And it's up to a judicial review board and a jury to determine whether or not that shooting was righteous and justified. The same should be said for someone in a chokehold on a subway. You know, I can't believe the idea that Daniel Penny is not being brought up, should not have been brought up on trial exists. I cannot believe that exists, because people should be accountable for their actions. And whether it was justified or not for me to decide. Daniel Penny did something that led to another person's death. That is the question.
Get it. The other guy did. So where's his second, third, fourth, fifth, 20th, 30th, 40th chance? A little weird there. Not exactly equivalent treatment in our system. I was just talking about this a couple weeks ago. Why is it that some people get away with these crimes? And
dude,
everyone just
Grimner, we still have states that use the electric chair. We still have execution by electrocution in this nation. We are not a progressive legal system.
Blind eye, but then all of a sudden, every once in a while, you're the case we're going after. Huh? That's not equal justice, right? What's the saying? That justice is supposed to be blind? Justice doesn't care about your race, your gender, your political affiliation, any of that. It's just supposed to be justice. Everyone gets treated equally and everyone has the same treatment in our legal system. That is not the case. And time again, we are seeing this over and over, that there is unequal treatment in our justice.
So he's saying that there's unequal treatment, but he's also advocating for Daniel Penny not going to trial for a homicide. Sure, Phil.
Justice system. Just this one case, 42 offenses, still on the street free, acting crazy, threatening people. First offense, only trying to protect other people, put him on trial for murder.
Also, like I am gonna bring race into it once again. Again, I ride that train all the fucking time. I ride the Q train from through the 2nd Avenue subway all the fucking time. It's rich white people what ride that train. It's not gonna take much for rich white people who live in Midtown to be threatened by a black guy. It's not going to take much. I've been on those trains. I've been on those trains when a homeless black dude is ranting. People are fucking scared because it's mostly well-to-do white people on that train. So don't tell me he was threatening people, because it doesn't take much to threaten those people. I've been on those trains. I rode that train 2 fucking weeks ago, man.
What the fuck are you talking about? What kind of a system is that?
Yeah, Gribner, there's unequal treatment, and that's okay.
Case, this person believes it's self-defense. The guy did the right thing. Let's look at the other side of this factor, shall we? Here we go.
Stay away from the numbered trains, is all I'll say. Stay away from the fucking numbered trains. The downtown numbered trains, ooh boy. You want to stay off those. When the sun goes down, stay above ground, man.
Is a Black Lives Matter leader now joining this man on his political show. What does she think about this situation after his acquittal, and here he is having celebratory drinks? Okay.
So do you not blame Jordan Neely at all?
Bro, okay. So I'm just going to say that this interview he pulled, incredibly disingenuous, because he found an interview where he was able to get I'm not going to call this guy right wing, but I think he makes his feelings on the situation clear. He got this dude talking to a BLM leader. This was not an interview, in my opinion, because I listened to this. I pre-listened to this. This was not an interview at all. This was just an argument, and it's fucking annoying. You'll see.
I mean, for what he did, he deserves no blame from your perspective, right?
Jordan Neely being the man with 42 offenses in the subway, going crazy, threatening people. I don't even have to say anything yet. Just take a look at her face.
Also, well, so Michael raises a good point. It's not a debate. And the reason why it's not a debate, and like I'm going to be like really pedantic about this, because I was a debate nerd when I was in school. To have a debate, you need a moderator, and there's no moderator. There's an interviewer and an interviewee. So by definition, it's not a debate. It's an argument. It's an argument in which the interviewer holds all the cards, and they got the most biased interviewee they could have. Of course, interviewing a Black Lives Matter leader after the death of a homeless black man on a subway would have fireworks. Like, this was clickbait. This was literally clickbait, but it was done on national news. That's the only difference.
I literally don't even have to say a word. Look at her face. She's about to answer, and look at what contortions her face are having right now. Holy shit. Look at the contempt. Look at the scorn on her face. Wow. Okay, let's continue.
Hold on. That makes me want to make a field trip. Hold on. I'm going to pull something up real quick. Just bear with me. Bear with me. One second, chat. 1 second, chat. Hold on. I gotta find a very specific thing. What was it? It's I'm just looking it up in another tab. There we go. All right, you guys ready? We need to lighten the load a little bit. Lighten the load, and we need to take a little field trip. You guys ready? Here we go.
I was suspended because of a Digital Millennium Copyright Act strike. Fuck this shit. Oh, no, you didn't, you motherfucking piece of shit cocksucker.
Look at the contempt on this man's face. Look at the contempt. Look at the tension. Isn't it palpable? Look.
Mark my fucking words. I'm coming for you. I'm gonna find out who the fuck you are. You motherfucker.
Yes. So you want to talk? You want to talk about? You want to talk about contorted face? You want to talk about emotions? I always go back to that clip. Whenever Phil is like, "Oh, this person's too emotional," I go back to that clip always, every time.
Hear the witness testimony?
I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a question. Do you blame Jordan Neely at all for his conduct?
If Jordan Neely was a white man, we'd be saying it was an opioid crisis. He was hungry. He was mentally ill.
It was a what? An OBY crisis? I don't know what that means.
By the way, this proves that DSP doesn't read anything but headlines because he doesn't know what the term opioid crisis means. The opioid crisis, something that's been going on for nearly a decade. Moving on.
I don't know what that means. So
he had a muffin in his pocket.
I wouldn't be if there were other. What about the witnesses? Let's play again, just so we're clear on the race.
Play Eddie Gibson, who begged Daniel Neely to stop.
Oh, again, and he stayed there throughout the incident.
Play the ones that fit the narrative.
But what's the narrative? There's black women who were on the subway. It was mostly people of color on the
And
subway.
this is the problem that I have. This is a disingenuous sit down because both of these people have already made up their minds. It would have worked if there was a moderator, but it's just them talking over each other. This is like this interview clip is useless, absolutely useless.
A white man during cross-examination who said that he was afraid of Daniel Penny, the one who poured water onto his head and said that he was afraid. He was a white man.
Yeah, okay. So
what about the Latino man who was holding his arms?
I'm not the one identifying everyone by race. You are. You're the one who keeps telling.
Again, people on the Q train would also be afraid of Daniel Penny. They absolutely would be afraid of like a big beefy operator putting a dude in a chokehold. That would be terrifying to witness.
Why? Why do you have to? There's nothing in this case.
When you look at the FBI, when you look at when hate crimes happen, when you look at when injustice happen to black people,
but let's agree. Let's agree to some. Look, I'm going to be doing a segment later this week on a missing black woman who has not been getting nearly enough attention.
Send it to me and I'll share the
post. By the media, because I understand that, and to that degree, you have a fair point about the way sometimes the media and the justice system handles. But not in this case. This case, even the prosecutors conceded Daniel Penny had every right to go hands-on, and the question became, okay, when should he have stopped? I understand that.
The time frame on that,
right?
From the DA's office was after 30 seconds.
Yeah, Cardigan raises a good point. News Nation likes to tout themselves as like we're the alternative news site, right? Like they say that all the time. They're like, oh, we're where you go to get mainstream, like news that is better than mainstream, but then they pile this horse shit on.
Daniel Penny was a trained killer. Did he not have his gray belt? United States Marine Corps is an assassin.
Sure,
but he knew.
Every Marine.
Okay, so calling every Marine an assassin, nope. Marines, there's a difference between a trained killer and an assassin. a United States Marine, let me say again, and this is nothing against the Marines. If anything, this is a compliment to the U.S. Marines. United States Marines are trained killers. That's what they do. But yes, this is boomer rage bait. This is absolute boomer rage bait.
Actually, Black Marines and white Marines have reached out and actually told us he went too far.
Going too far is different from criminal.
Let me break it down. A chokehold, a blood chokehold, which he did. You're only supposed to hold someone in that move for 8 to 13 seconds. You're not supposed to do it longer than 2 minutes. Why did Daniel Penny, when the train was completely clear, everyone was on the platform, why did he hold it for nearly?
Because he was scared.
Soldier does not equal an assassin. You can be a shooter, you can be a trained killer, but that's not an assassin. And people that have a disdain for the armed forces tend to categorize everyone who's a trained killer as an assassin, and there's a difference.
A Marine is scared of of someone he labeled as a crackhead.
Again, is it not possible?
She almost called him a crackhead, and then she said, "Oh, he labeled as a crackhead."
Oh, you know what? You're right, Brandon. He absolutely would complain about this being too long. It's too fucking long, man. The moderator's getting in the way. Let them talk.
And say, "Whoa, who he categorized as crackhead?" Damn. Close one. Close call right there.
That Daniel Penny, when he's doing this on the spot, stepping up to help people of many different races, moves in and doesn't have a clock with him to decide when he should stop and when he shouldn't, which is why in the end the jury acquitted, right?
No, actually, Daniel Penny was
Thin ice, penitence sin. That is a Frogan-style accusation. We don't talk about her. Fuck that lady.
Very well by the United States Marine Corps, and he knew what the signs were. He knew when Jordan's body was slacking. He knew that Jordan was going to die. Why didn't you show his face, Dan? You're a good man. Of when he laughed and when the first response, I'm critical of the police. We know this, right? NYPD tried to save his life.
I will say in this clip right here, he doesn't look like much of a threat anymore, right? Like this is kind of why people are so upset at the idea of Daniel Penny not facing trial. It doesn't look like much of a threat anymore. Like, really doesn't.
While they were doing chest compressions, Daniel Penny laughed and said chest compressions. A good person, a hero. One last thing. Why did he never ask about the well-being in that police department about Jordan Neely?
So you're asking a lot of questions that are sort of rhetorical questions, right? But the ultimate question is...
well, DB James, I've been in conversations with a couple people who said that there is no reason for the hold to be that long. But what I don't like to do, because I've never served in the armed forces, listen, I'm a wimp with a bad back whose legs barely work. All right? Far be it from me to second guess chokehold procedures and the do's and don'ts and everything like that. But a lot of people I've talked to have said, listen, when someone goes limp, you let them go. You let them go. You restrain them. When someone goes limp, just let them go. So I guess I will say that, because the few people that I have talked to is you just, once the person goes limp, you kind of got them, and then you just you put them into a recovery position, and then you restrain them. You know, that's the main point that I see people leveraging against Daniel Penny. But even so, it's not for me to decide whether or not the homicide was justified. The thing that I have the problem with is the disingenuous way the story is being presented, so that we all fight each other instead of concentrating on the actual issues.
Why did the jury acquit? Is it because they're racist?
It's true. You notice what she did? She rapid fire asked a bunch of questions, out of which no one could ever answer. Like, no one could answer any of the questions she asked at all. So she does it on purpose. So it could be this, it could be this, it could be this. You're asking all these rhetorical or hypotheticals.
All right, we are short on time because I need to end soon. This segment doesn't matter. There is this bit I need to skip to. I could not listen. Content warning for the next segment. This is going to be very hard to get through, because the shit DSP was saying about this next thing, I could not believe. So let's hear it.
Nothing there. Now, one final thing. The actual parents of Jordan Neely speak out. Thank you to KingPhil007 who just gifted a sub tonight. I appreciate that very, very much.
Let's get some subs!
So here are the parents of Jordan Neely speaking out on the situation after the verdict was given.
That's very reminiscent of Fly Eagles Fly, isn't it? Shout out to so-and-so 007. As we're talking about a guy who died. Fuck you, Phil.
Daniel was not guilty. Ready?
I just want to say,
Daniel Penny. Did I say Peely? It's Daniel Penny. Here we go.
I miss my son. My son didn't have to go through this. I didn't have to go through this either. It hurts.
His son didn't have to go through this, and he didn't have to go through this either. Aren't you his dad? So if you're his dad, why was your son on the streets, homeless, on drugs, hungry, threatening people, getting arrested 42 times? Where were you?
Big
you
up,
motherfucker.
This is the cruelest thing he's ever said. A man can't grieve his son. And notice, he is blaming all of the actions of the son on the father. It does not matter whether or not Andre Zachary was there for his son. A father is entitled to grieve because nobody should have to bury their son.
Where the fuck were you? Now? Oh, it's so sad.
What I'll say is, shame on you. Like, this makes me sound very, like, cocked and old-timey, but I don't care. Shame on you, Phil. Shame on you for balking at the misery of others. Shame on you.
He went through this. Where were you when he was going through it? You're his father. You're the one who had him. You're the one who was responsible for raising him, for teaching him how to fend for himself, how to be a mature adult who could get a job, who would be off drugs, who would be a productive member of society, someone who wouldn't be arrested 42 times. That was your responsibility. You failed. You're the reason your son is dead.
No, you motherfucker. That is the cruelest thing he's ever said. This is the cruelest thing he's ever said. What I will say is, Daniel Penny is the reason why Jordan Neely is dead. It's Daniel Penny and no one else. So to blame the man's father is cruel, and Phil deserves to go to hell. And what I'll extend to that is, Philip, you are David Linda's fault. Because I'm going to quote Golden Triangle Gaming on this. Linda should have swallowed, or Dave should have pulled out. Because where were they? Where were they when you were begging? Where were they in all of this shit? Oh yeah, that's right. Linda gave you $10K for taxes. Where were they? By this logic, we can lay all of your fuck-ups at David Burnell's feet. So where are you, Dave? Where are you? I cannot believe the cruelty of this man. I cannot believe. In my opinion, this is worse than DSP yelling about War Dog Leader a week after War Dog Leader lost his brother. This is worse. This is 10 times worse than that. Listen, fathers fuck up. Fathers can have regrets. To be honest, I'm not close with my biological father at all. Let me say this about my father. My biological father, not equipped to raise kids at all. Not equipped to raise kids whatsoever. But you know what? He kind of knew it. He knew he wasn't equipped to be a full-time father. So my mom ended up, dating my stepdad and then getting remarried. So I know what it's like to have a father that is not equipped to take care of kids and like not equipped to be there and everything. But to say that it is Andre Zachary's fault that his son is dead, fuck you. That's the cruelest you've ever been. That's the cruelest you have ever been. And there is a special place in hell for you. He wonders why people don't like him. He wonders why people troll him. He wonders why people microanalyze every stupid fucking thing he says because of shit like this. Because you're cruel. You're cruel, you're petty, and you have no talent.
Period. You're not a victim. You're the perpetrator, motherfucker. That shit pisses me off.
No.
Oh, woe is me.
See, the problem I have with this is he thinks he's cooking. He thinks he's cooking and he's going for a rage bait clip. But he is exposing himself here. He is exposing himself as the cruel, petty bully he is. Because this is what he's doing. He's bullying a man in grief. He's bullying a man who's grieving for his son. You can say whatever you want about what a father's responsibility is. You can say whatever you want about the nature of their relationship. But do not disparage a man who is in grief of his son. Because for a father to bury a son, even an adult son, is tragic. No matter what the circumstances are. And the idea that Phil is laying this at the hands of Jordan Neely's father instead of perhaps Daniel Penny is staggering. And it shows, one, what a cruel bastard he is and how much of a baby brain he has.
My son is dead. He's your son. You're the reason he's dead. You fucking piece of shit.
You fucking piece of shit.
Really, really hurts.
And it should, because you killed him.
No! You fucking asshole.
What are we gonna do, people? What's gonna happen to us now?
To who? To you? You'll go on being a miserable wretch for the rest of your life who should be riddled with guilt that your son is dead because you're a horrible person and a horrible father. That's what's going to happen to you now.
So, people have gotten on me in the past about why I take such a hard line with DSP and why I always, and I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to out Guy with Two Names a little bit. Guy with Two Names at times has gotten on me for being a little hard, for being very hard on DSP, for assuming that DSP is a disingenuous, lying bastard every step of the way. This is why people that say shit like this deserve no sympathy, no quarter. So if anybody's ever thinking about feeling bad for DSP, don't. This is an example of why you should never feel bad about DSP. Ever. Because he doesn't deserve your sympathy or empathy, and a person like this would only weaponize it and use it against you. Think about how many times he's grieved T. Carter on stream.
No one.
Think about how many times he has used the death of a friend for sympathy. Yet when this man is genuinely grieving, DSP says he deserves what he got and he's responsible for Jordan dying. Fuck you.
Deserve to be choked to death.
That's correct. That I will agree with 100%.
No one. And you know
okay.
What's going to happen to you now.
No one deserves to be choked to death.
That's correct. That I will agree with 100%.
Okay, but so you're saying you agree that no one deserves to be choked to death, yet you're also saying that Jordan Neely deserved to be choked to death and it was Andre Zachary's fault? Question mark? Hello, Brunel?
No one. And you know we're in that courtroom and people are cheering.
Yes, because they didn't want a man who didn't actively want to kill someone to go to jail for murder. That's correct.
Intent doesn't determine whether or not it is justifiable homicide.
Verdict.
Correct. Because they said they thought it was the right verdict. That's right.
The loudest noise, the judge did nothing. But when his
all right, I'm done.
You don't want that. Listen,
I'm done.
Daniel Penny
I'm done.
would have done what he did.
I can't. I'm done. That's it. I can't do this anymore. All right. So let's. We can try and do a call-in segment at the end if anybody wants to. Yeah. Let's send it out with a call-in segment. I can't watch them anymore. I'm tilted.
Time.
Thanks.
Big
for
ups,
the
Women's
support.
Cardigan.
Women's Cardigan. My wife
sorry,
outly
guys.
says, Phil leaves out what Jordan went through as a kid. Not to mention Phil has never had any real struggles in his life.
And that's
the privilege is off the charts.
That's the problem. Is that DSP is going to sit here and he's going to accuse the father of being responsible for his son's death via a failure to parent. Fuck you. You don't even have kids of your own. You can't even take care of your cat. If anybody would like to call in, we can. I'll open it up for a quick call-in segment, and then I'm going to call it. I can't do this anymore. I'm done. But if you would like to call in, there are links in the description for the waiting room for the call-in, the Detractor Beam Discord, or if you'd like to use the phone, you can dial 1-917-740-8933, or you can use *67 before calling to anonymize yourself. Number again, 1-917-740-8933. Let me put that in the chat and pin it. So we'll wait, a minute or two for a potential call-in segment. If anybody wants to call in, go for it. If not, I can't blame you. That was a rough segment. And if no call-ins, I'm gonna end it because I need to go do anything else but this after that segment. Anything else but this. But yeah, I'll. It's really. Like when you think to yourself he can't get any worse, you see a segment like this. I'm not gonna lie, I was sitting in the waiting area yesterday, listening to this, and I said "shame on you" out loud about Phil. So it was rough. I'll give it about another minute or so for call-ins, and if nobody wants to call in, that's cool. No worries. I will end it there and touch some grass. But no worries. I am going to go touch some grass, actually. I'm just going to end it here. I'm like, that segment broke me. I'm really discombobulated. A couple things that I'm working on. We've got a call. We've got a call of the Skype phone from Anonymous. Hello, Anonymous. You are on the troll phone. Who am I speaking with, and what's on your mind? Oh, sure. Go for it.
Phil and his awful sources. It was funny. I was talking to a coworker, and we were talking about someone who I guess is smart, but is like, if you have any kind of roadblock in front of them, they just kind of throw up their hands and stop.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of reminds me of Phil, almost to a T, no pun intended.
Yes.
And it's funny just because, like, I think he thinks he's the smartest person in the room all the time.
Absolutely.
And he's never had someone say, like, no, you're a dumbass. And if he hears that, he just runs away.
Well, and I think Steve of the Dead talks about this a lot, where Phil never really had those close friends in his childhood that would check his bullshit. Because everybody has those friends that are willing to be like, "No, you're full of shit, sir. Like, what are you talking about?" He never had enough of that, so he goes and he says dumb, unhinged stuff like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think this whole politics thing has kind of really exposed that. Where, you know, if he says that about video games, it's like, who cares? It's video games. People say that all the time, and
yeah,
when it's like real issues, it really makes him look like a bigger dumbass, which is, you know, hard to believe, but it's kind of crazy. And I think he really thinks he's like, oh, I'm really nailing this, because he clips these and he posts them like he's proud of it, which is, I don't know. I echo what you guys say, where it's like, it's hard to get through some of these.
Yeah, like that segment of him, you know, blaming a grieving father for his son's death, like, really mentally broke me, to be honest. And I just, the narcissism knows no bounds, and I think that this is a great example of that.
Yeah, so you know, I enjoy your takes, and, you know, I love shitting on DSP in the Discord, and I'll never feel bad because you know, I saw someone, I love the women's cardigan name.
Yeah, big ups Women's Cardigan for giving us lots of laughs in the chat. We appreciate you.
He hasn't busted it out this year yet, but, you know, it's coming. But I think he said, like, whenever you feel sympathy for Phil, you know, he'll do like 10 shitty things, and it's like, okay, now I remember why I shit all over.
Yeah, don't. Like, my whole mantra about sympathy for DSP is, when you start feeling sympathetic for Phil, don't. He'll give you a reason not to. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, I mean, he streams himself 50 hours a week. It's pretty easy.
Yep. All we got to do is wait. Thanks for calling in. Before you go, is there anything else you want to add?
Fuck Phil.
Yeah, fuck Phil. Thank you, brother. We'll talk to you again sometime.
No problem. See ya.
Well, big ups. If anybody wants to call in either on the Discord side or the phone side, feel free to do so. We've got another call from someone on the Skype side. Hello, welcome to Troll Talk. You are on the show. Who am I speaking with, and what's on your mind?
This show the first time. I just want to say that Phil's take on, like, his take on the Jordan Neely case, like, oh, that I want to blame the father. It's literally just like, I know how it frustrates you, but as someone who has to deal with all of that shit, like, it frustrated me the most to try and blame the father for the situation that's going down.
Yes. It's like, terrible no matter how you look at it, in my opinion.
But and all honesty, the fact that he really just made it, like, it just, he didn't look at everything the way that it really should have been. And it was never about race or anything like that. It was always about, like, just a person who, in my opinion, I felt like that it was kind of like he used a bit more excessive force than needed, because I have family who literally are in the Marines, who served, and they're not people, like, they have more, like, I don't know how to exactly say it, but they have more experience with dealing with more harsh situations. So they should know, you should know when to stop, and when it's okay to, when someone is actually in a position where they are no longer a threat. He wasn't a threat. Phil doesn't understand the whole situation. He literally just saw it as a way to just try and show his true colors. He didn't understand anything that was going down.
He didn't understand how people could be upset at the idea that a chokehold was applied and someone died. That's probably the most dented part of this whole thing. Is that it's like, why are people even upset? It's like, well, someone died, Phil. That's why, you know.
Yeah, why are people upset? Death. A person was killed. Not like it. Like, we're upset because this person decided to use, again, in my opinion, excessive force on someone, which resulted in death.
Yes.
How is it that you do not understand that people are mad that a person killed another person?
And I'm not even like to clarify, I'm not even a stranger to the idea that this might have been a justified thing, that the chokehold might have been justified. My problem with it is the idea that he doesn't think it should go to trial, which is nuts, completely nuts.
That's the biggest thing too. Like, that is the big thing too. You're not. Like, I agree with you on that as well. I do agree with you on that. Like, it's just like, why would you believe that this should, like, if that's the case, if you believe that he shouldn't go to trial, or if that's what he wants to believe, what justifications are there that you even have? He has nothing. He's just saying, like, he really just believes that this person was homeless. This person had nothing. This person went to jail. In the story. And it's just like, it goes beyond a person has gone to jail, a person is homeless. It goes more into line of, why is this person stuck in this system where he's basically condemned to death at that point.
Yeah, and I think,
and that's the one key part that he misses of that.
Yeah, like should a homeless person die for having a bad day? Really is kind of my question, and also the thing that people have to understand about Phil. And like, the thing, if I could ask Phil a question in regards to this right now, I would ask him, have you ever talked to a homeless person? Have you ever actually talked to someone who is homeless? I have. I doubt Phil has. I doubt he understands what that's like, or the things you have to do to survive as a homeless person, you know?
Yes, I agree with you on that. And I can say I've talked with homeless people too. I've worked security where I've had to talk to homeless people and get them off of a property, and I've been homeless as well, so I understand situations. So it's more or less, you have to understand where a person's coming from, and before you really start before you just start going on instinct.
Yes. Well, and I think to bring this sort of back to something that Phil says all the time, if you think about, he #save the house arc, there have been many, many times where Phil has said, oh, if I don't get tips, I might be on the street, or I might lose my house. That's not the same thing at all. Like, he's never been nearly the circumstances that someone like Jordan Neely is.
Yeah, that's complete bullshit. I can tell you, I've dealt with, like, again, I dealt with homelessness. For a time, I've been, for a good time, I was homeless myself. Then it's not easy to jump back up. It's not easy to jump back up and get a job. Like, it's not easy to get a job, get a place so that you can get everything together. And again, it's a miracle to even get to that point. And in some cases, you will be in a situation like Jordan Neely, and the system will be put against you. The system will be put against you to try and make sure that you stay continually getting locked up and just like locked up and spit out in a perpetual cycle. It's not a matter of this is a black man being killed, a person of one race being killed by another person of another race, but this person saved a bunch of people. He should be lauded as a hero. It's literally straight up. This guy murdered another guy.
I mean, even that being the case, heroes should be held accountable as well, should they not?
Yes, they should.
Exactly.
Does being a hero, so it kind of raised, like, I was listening to it and I understand, like, should being a hero really just, like, to justify being a hero, am I allowed to kill X amount of people if it means that I'm saving this group of people?
Yeah, it's really the trolley problem, right? And DSP doesn't understand it at all.
No, he does not. Like, it honestly, to say that he understands any problem, any type of any type of problem that requires thinking is just a stretch. But
yeah, absolutely.
I just wanted to call in I really just wanted to call in to put my opinion out on that one, because every time I hear that part, every time I hear about that situation, hear him blame hearing him blame the parents for their upbringing. It's just like, still, it's like the way that you're, like, everything that you're saying, you literally can just flip that back on you.
Absolutely.
Why are you begging so much? Why are you e-begging so much? Why are you going out of your way to like swindle people, to scam people out of money for all of this bullshit stuff that you're all of this stuff that you're
No, you can swear. I don't care.
Not going to, like, no, I'm just heated. It's like,
no, I understand.
About, this is the one like I can usually stay calm on a lot of stuff, but this one just has me heated. Why are you able to just scam people? Why are you always just trying to lie and cheat your way to money just to keep yourself afloat when you make a reasonable amount of money already?
Exactly.
Why are you trying to why are you doing so much? Why are you doing so much to try and accomplish so fucking little? If you really put in the effort, you could actually you might actually be someone worth viewing beyond a locale. You might actually do something. I mean, that's not really the case because he's too far gone to even come
yeah,
back.
he's stuck now. He's 100% stuck now. He can't do anything.
Yeah, so it's just like you have so much going. You have so much going against you, and it's just at this point, his entire anything that he has to say regarding anything quote political or just anything clickbait is just it's really not worth even listening to, or it's not even worth trying to understand his side, because he has no real side to it. He has no real understanding of what's going on outside of the world. You can't understand anything that's going on outside of the world if you don't go outside of the world, if you're not going outside and observing what's going on, if you're not actually taking the time to disconnect from your little computer and going to see what people are struggling with, what people are dealing with.
Yeah, he doesn't know actual struggles, and I would argue that every struggle of his life has been self-imposed. So he has no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, he has no understanding. All I can say at this point is, if you like, is just enjoy life in an echo chamber bubble that of your own making, and don't be surprised when what 5 and then 10 years, 1 year from now, any type of audience that you have, larger actual audience or otherwise, is all gone because of how entitled you feel to other people's wealth.
Yes.
Other people's money.
Absolutely. It's the sense of entitlement. It's the sense of entitlement that is the most galling, I think.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. Well, I do have to disconnect now. I have to make sure I can jump back into
All right.
work.
Yeah. No worries. Thank you so much for calling in. Be safe. Have a good day.
Of course. Thank you. You have a good one as well.
All right. Bye. All right. Well, if anybody else wants to call in, you can on the troll phone or the Discord. If not, I'm just gonna call it there because that segment fucking broke me, man. Thanks everybody who called in. Thanks everybody who contributed. Let me go to the fan funding tab and thank everybody. Thank you, Smitty Weberman Jensen. Thank you, Humalong, for the 7 months. Thank you, Women's Cardigan. Thanks for the contributions, everybody. I am going to... so TBS is going to start at some point. Are they up yet? When does TBS start today? I don't remember. Let me see. I'm going to check. I'm going to redirect you somewhere. They're starting at 11:45. So I will redirect you to WPIG. And then redirect you to, and then that will redirect you to that being said. Big ups, everybody. Thank you for hanging out. I'm going to play some music and redirect you momentarily. But thank you for coming to the stream, everybody. You guys are great. I'll see you again next time.
I have a legacy. I put in the work after all this time. I'm known for a jerk. And if you have a membership, I'll give you a perk. Money. We're here for money. I was a pioneer of making commentary. I was right up to the top, despite my adversaries. I'm never gonna stop, quite the contrary. When you're the best, you outlast the rest. I outlasted those motherfuckers. But now it's time to put on a vest, right? 3, 2,